Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. How long has it been since the last one? Probably not that long, but it feels like a pretty long time. We are streaming on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. Now, would I ideally like the deadlines to be on a Saturday morning? Yes, yes, I probably would. But I did have a wonderful Saturday without FPL, which was nice. Everyone's saying play an ad already. There will be no ads in this stream. But yeah, it's been a busy couple of days in my life. Not that you really care what I'm doing in my life, but yeah, it's been crazy. I was recording a YouTube video at 2:15 last night. Then I was up at 9 a.m. I've had back-to-back testing for my PhD. By the way, all three of the people that I tested today all watched the videos. Massive thank you. And then, yeah, I've done all of that testing. I got home at 3 p.m. I scranned some food, bang, 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 and now I'm streaming. All on 4 hours sleep. Now, do I recommend that you have 4 hours sleep? No, I would recommend you probably have more. But it is what it is. I'm a busy man. What can I say? I'm going to actually show you my Whoop. My Whoop's not happy with me. Sleep performance, 51%. 4 hours of sleep, needed 8 hours of sleep. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. It did. Whoa, whoa. The lighting's messed up now. Okay, I won't be showing you that again. Anyway, not enough sleep. So, let me show you my team. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what's going on right now, but I hate my team, and I feel like it's going to go really badly every single week. Like, I never have a good feeling about my team. On paper, it should be a good team, and I think it is okay, but I just look at it and I think, do you know what? I'm not going to have a good week. So I think the issue is captaincy, right? I'm not sure where to go with captaincy. And as a result, I mean, we'll talk about captaincy throughout today's stream, but I feel like when you're not set on captaincy, and also you know that captaincy will be quite split, it makes me second guess everything. And in fact, I've not seen a single content creator that's not captaining Palmer, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong because everyone seems to have agreed on Cole Palmer. I wonder why that's the case. But yeah, everyone's all on Palmer. At the moment, as you can see, I've still got the armband on Salah. My mantra throughout the season has very much been, if there is a standout option, I will go against Salah, well, since he's been absolutely smashing it. But if there's not, then I'll just captain Salah. And for me, whilst I think Isak, Fernandez, Palmer are all good captaincy options, very good captaincy options, none of them strike me as being like outrageously good captaincy options. And so I think if none of them are real standouts, yes, Salah's got a tough fixture. No, I'm probably not expecting like 15, 20 points for Salah, but I'm thinking I could just play it on him. As boring as that is, if I am to move it, it probably is to Cole Palmer. But almost the fact that I'm seeing so many other people captaining Palmer, it's making me want to do the opposite. It's such a bad reason to do something or to make a move because other people are or are not. But you get what I mean. Seeing everyone else... Stop captaining Salah, it's boring. I would argue Palmer captain appears to be the most boring. Everyone and their mum is just copying FPL review and captaining Palmer. Literally, I haven't seen a single bigger account that's not captaining Palmer. I feel like Palmer's the boring captain at this stage. I don't know. I think if Isak was fully fit, if there were no doubts around Isak's fitness, I'd probably give Isak the armband. And as much as I'm sure that Isak will start... Do I know that he gets more than 60 to 70 minutes? I don't. And that's what puts me off. Bruno Fernandes is very exciting, but I just don't really want my entire week and football. Like, as a Man United fan, it's already bad enough if we don't do well against Southampton. If on top of that, I've got my captain that doesn't do very well, it's a double whammy, isn't it? My egg, how are you, my man? I'm good, thank you, Joseph. A little bit tired, but I am well. I'm taking a chance on Isak. This might be... Do you know what? I was sat there thinking, is that the bold but smart play? Eddie Howe is a liar, and also Isak is so important to them. And that Wolves defence does look a little bit bare in terms of the players they've got available, but they've been a little bit better under Vitor Pereira. If you could confirm me 80 plus minutes, I'd probably go Isak, but 60 minutes of Isak or 90 minutes of Salah or Palmer, I'm always going to back the player that's playing 90. Mateta is calling my name for some reason. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I mean, I'm not even considering him, but I don't blame you. I feel like with Mateta, for me, if you look, Mateta's not even been transferred in by that many people this week. So Mateta is going to be lower than 10% ownership. Owning Mateta will gain me 92% of his points probably. Maybe 85% would be the absolute minimum. So what I'm saying is because nobody owns Mateta, I'm happy enough just having him in my team. Like that for me is enough to make me think, do you know what? If he does well, I'm still happy. Have you seen FPL Instinctive's predicted lineup post? Yeah, he predicted that João Pedro will be on the bench. I am leaning that way myself. I think João Pedro will be in the squad, but I've got a feeling that he might not start, which might put you off captaincy, of course. Hi, Ross. Should I move Jackson to Mateta? I wouldn't do that, no. I'd just keep Jackson. Honestly, if you're sat there with Jackson and you want some confirmation bias to sell him, probably don't ask me, because I will say in most cases I'd keep Jackson. I think one of the next 2 games, Jackson will get like a 13-pointer, and everyone, the narrative will change so quickly. I don't really love selling Jackson, personally. Start 2 of João Pedro, Wood, and Rogers. 1 of Munoz and Colwill. I would probably go Wood and Rogers, because João Pedro's a doubt, and I'd probably say Munoz ahead of Colwill. Morning, Sugar. Good morning, Claudette. Or good afternoon for us, but good morning to you in Canada. Super Duper has been a member for 19 months. Big love. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Scott has asked, hi, I have Sells, Gabriel, Robinson, Hall, Ahmad, Gordon, Salah, Palmer, Cap, Wood, Jackson, and Isak's a nice team, Scott. My bench is Fabianski, Semenyo, Timber, O'Shea. 1 free transfer and 2.3 million in the bank. Do you have any advice? Not massively right now. I mean, with only 1 free transfer, I'd probably roll. Like, your team's looking really solid. You've got a bit of bench cover if you need it. But I suppose your defensive options aren't fantastic beyond the 3 that you've got in Gabriel, Robinson, Hall. I think Timber will play. Apparently it was cramp. But also the clean sheet chances, apologies, for Arsenal moving forward aren't as high. I think at some point Timber to Konate, Van Dijk or Trent might be the play for you, Scott. But honestly, you don't need to do it this week because you just play Gabriel, Robinson, Hall. I would roll the transfer quite comfortably if that was my team, Scott. But yeah, moving forward, I think Timber to a Liverpool defender ahead of their double game week in 24, it looks really nice. Can I ask for a cheeky request? So the 1,200 people watching already, you're the real ones. Can I ask you to drop a like on the stream to just spread it out to more people? I'd really appreciate that. And also make sure to subscribe if you're not. But yeah, if you could drop a cheeky like, it is very useful. Good evening, Ross. Wood or Rogers? Who do I start? I think I would go Rogers. If I could only start one of them myself. I was thinking about this earlier, because I'm obviously starting both. But if I were to bring Enzo in, it would be for Chris Wood. So I would have Rogers ahead of Wood. The only thing that makes me think maybe Rogers isn't the best player this week is obviously the potential for a new manager bounce under Moyes. Would you start Cunha or Rogers? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd probably go Cunha there. I think I'd go Cunha. Would I? Newcastle have been so good. Maybe Rogers, actually. I just like the penalties for Cunha. Ødegaard to Bruno will roll for 3 free transfers next week. I'd probably do it. I think Bruno's a better asset than Ødegaard, and you've got multiple free transfers. It's not like you're utilising your only free transfer there, Toby, so I would probably do it. Kieran says, Gordon, Mateta, Aina in for Trent, Cunha, Martinelli. So you're selling Trent and Cunha and Martinelli for Gordon. I probably wouldn't do that, no. I'd keep Trent. I wouldn't even mind keeping Cunha a little bit longer. Martinelli might become an issue, but he might be fine for Spurs. Unless you are so desperate to get Gordon in, and that's your only way of doing it, I probably wouldn't do it for now. Can't decide which defenders to play. Did sell Timber for Hall this week. Fancy Hall, Gabriel and Munoz over Trent and Robinson. Yeah, that's a ridiculous defence. I would have Trent ahead of... Maybe it's Gabriel. I think I would go Hall, Trent, and 1 of Gabriel and Munoz. But I would have Trent towards the top. Rory says, hi, Ross. Bench 1 of Trent, Gabriel, Robinson, or Hall. Good luck this week. Robinson in that case. I think Trent, Gabriel, and Hall are slightly ahead of Robinson for me. And best of luck to you as well, Rory. Thank you very much. João Pedro to Mateta or Raul Jimenez? Probably Raul Jimenez. It's probably worth the savings. I've got Mateta and I'm very glad to have him, but 7.2 is quite a lot of money for him. And Raul Jimenez is also on penalties, is also playing in a decent team, has equally decent fixtures over the next couple. I'd probably go Raul Jimenez ahead of Mateta. Start Van Dijk or Robinson? That's actually a tough one. I'd still start Van Dijk in that situation. But Forest are pretty beastly from set pieces, aren't they? Milenkovic on Van Dijk. That'll be a battle. Have 2 free transfers. Should I sell Flecken for Henderson? Probably not now. I mean, if you've held Flecken all this time, they've got 2 difficult fixtures, but then they actually start to improve again. And he's going to play in blank game week 29. Henderson probably won't play in blank game week 29. So again, unless you've got another keeper you can play that week, it's just another transfer that you're booking in. I probably wouldn't do that, no. Also, there are some doubts. Henderson should be fine, but there are some doubts associated with him. Can you put a poll up for captaincy? Yeah, I was supposed to do that, wasn't I? Game week 21 captaincy poll. Salah. Palmer. Chat, who are you captaining, Isak or Fernandes? Who should I put as the third option? Do you know what? I could just put all four there, but then for people that are captaining someone rogue, I like to put other. Who would you rather captain, Isak or Bruno? Ignore Haaland, ignore Palmer and Salah. Just out of Isak and Bruno, who's more popular? Looks like Isak. Okay, I'll put Isak on. I guess Isak's slightly higher owned as well, isn't he? So more people are going to have the option of Isak. Right, there's a Game Week 21 captaincy poll. Please make sure to vote on it. Make sure to vote on it. So it's Salah, Palmer, Isak, and then other. Be interested to see where people are leaning at the moment. Maybe the play is just to ignore Eddie Howe and just captain Isak. He might end up getting 90 minutes. And if he does get 90, he's arguably a better option than everyone else. John says, little bit of a benching headache. I need to bench two of the following players. Sarr, Pedro, Isak, Cunha, Rodgers. Currently got Cunha and Rodgers on the bench. Well, you can't bench Sarr. I would probably bench João Pedro and Cunha. The only reason I say João Pedro is just because he is a doubt. And there is a chance that he sits on the bench and gets a bit of a cameo off the bench. So I think João Pedro and one of Cunha or Rodgers. If you fancy Rodgers more on the bench, then that's absolutely fine. But yeah, probably Pedro and Cunha for me. I am aware you're benching two penalty takers there, so that might not go particularly well. Andy Something says, bench Rodgers, Enzo or João Pedro and start Pickford or Fabianski. Good luck this game week. Thank you very much. Out of those three players, I think Rodgers is the one I wouldn't bench. It'd be between Enzo and João Pedro. João Pedro is a better asset than Enzo, but he's also got more risk of being on the bench and having a cameo. So I would probably bench João Pedro and start Enzo. Pickford or Fabianski. I don't know how these two teams are going to do under new management, obviously, the pair of them. I think... Would I? I think I would go Pickford still. Because I just think Everton are a slightly better defence than West Ham. Even again, with new management, it might change. But I think I'd marginally lean Pickford ahead of Fabianski. Would you buy Wissa or Raul Jimenez? I'd probably go Raul Jimenez for the next few. And then if you don't like the look of Raul Jimenez, then you can move him on for Wissa in the future. But yeah, I just think the next two I don't love. I know City this week could be a good game, but then it's Liverpool. Even beyond that, Palace after that, it's not an excellent fixture. I think I would probably marginally prefer Raul Jimenez for the next few weeks. Would you have any Nottingham Forest in the starting team? I've got Chris Wood in my team. If you're asking about the defenders, I mean, ideally you don't start them this week. Although they beat Liverpool 1-0 earlier on the season, so who's to say they won't do that again? Hi Ross, 9k currently, great rank. Have two transfers. Start two of Wood, Cunha or Semenyo. I think I'd bench Semenyo in that case. I think I'd start your two penalty takers, Wood and Cunha. Alternatively, going Semenyo to Ahmad and benching Cunha. What are your thoughts? I actually don't mind Semenyo to Ahmad. The next three fixtures for Semenyo really aren't ideal. I think I would just about say start Wood and Cunha and roll. But then shortly after that, it would be the Semenyo to Ahmad move. I don't think you really desperately want Semenyo moving forward. I think it will affect them having either Nilsson and Unau out too. Although Altara did look very good in the FA Cup. In the gym, love it. Big up. I'm not going to the gym today, but I'll be there tomorrow. Should I do Bruno for a -4, Ødegaard out? I wouldn't do it for a hit. If you could do it for free, I think Bruno in for Ødegaard makes a lot of sense, but not for a -4. Because even if Ødegaard only gets a single assist at that point, you're basically needing a goal and bonus points to just make back the hit. And that's just assuming Ødegaard only gets a single assist. Obviously, if Ødegaard blanks, then yeah, maybe Bruno goes massive, but I probably wouldn't take a hit for that. Afternoon, Ross. Bench Enzo or Wood? Looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow as well. I would probably start Wood, my friend. I'd probably start Wood. I mean, well, I am starting Wood and I'm benching Enzo. So yeah, I just think penalties, a better asset, playing for a team that are playing incredibly well right now. They've already done one over on Liverpool this season. I know it clashes with Trent. That is the only thing that's going back and forth in my mind is, do I start Enzo and just hope that Trent gets a clean sheet? I think I saw a stat going around. I haven't fact-checked this, but something like Chris Wood hasn't scored in 13 appearances against Liverpool as well. Like, if you look at Chris Wood's points this season, he's not really done it against the bigger teams. So, Liverpool, 2-pointer. Chelsea, 8-pointer isn't bad, actually. Newcastle, 2-pointer. Arsenal, 1-pointer. Man City, 2-pointer. Even Spurs, if you want to call that a big game, 2-pointer. He's really returned in like Leicester, West Ham, Ipswich, United, who aren't a good defence. I do worry that it's not a very good game for Chris Wood. I could be convinced in the next hour and 45 minutes to back against Chris Wood and to start Enzo instead. But I think in a lot of cases, he's an absolute fines. Because the thing is, if Forest score, there is such a good chance that Chris Wood is involved in it. So I don't mind it. Chris says, hey Ross, 1 free transfers and a forward line of Watkins, Isak and João Pedro. Keen to free up some money to get slot in for Game Week 23. Well, just a note, Chris, the assistant manager chip is only available from Game Week 24. So you can't get slot for 23, but you can do it in 24. So would you do Watkins to Jackson this week, given Duran is back? If not, Jackson, anyone else? I still think I prefer Wood, Mateta ahead of Jackson, considering the saving, or Raul Jimenez. So I would probably go for one of those and save all of the extra money. But if you've got a feeling about Jackson, yeah, I actually don't think Jackson's a bad buy. Lots of people looking to sell him, but I think he's still a really decent shout. I do think that there is a good chance that Duran starts this game. And even if he doesn't start, Watkins will be off by about 60, 65 minutes, you'd imagine. So yeah, I actually don't mind selling Watkins this week. But yeah, I'd probably go for Wood, Mateta, or Raul Jimenez, and maybe a cheeky shout out to Wisser as well. Hi Ross, start one of Saliba, Wood, or João Pedro. Oh, Saliba, Wood, or João Pedro. Chat, which way would you go there? That is a difficult benching headache. You need to start one of João Pedro, Saliba, or Wood. I'd probably just about say Chris Wood. Probably still Wood there, because João Pedro's a minutes risk. And Saliba's not got much attacking threat, and I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet here. So yeah, probably Wood, João Pedro, Saliba in that order. Sean says 86 points last week. Banging. 2 free transfers, 0.1 million in the bank. Very nice. Henderson, Gabs, Trent, Munoz, Kirkers, Salah, Palmer, Bruno Cap, Ahmad, and Burmo. Forward line is gone. João Pedro, Jesus, and Eva Nilsson. Oof. Well, I think you keep João Pedro then, because obviously he's the least of the issues that you have in that forward line. Jesus and even Nilsson out for whichever 2 forwards you want, mate. You've got some flexibility there, like Mateta and Wood would probably be my 2 favourite options if you can afford that. If not, then maybe something like Wood and Raul Jimenez. But yeah, I think using your 2 free transfers to deal with that forward line probably makes a lot of sense. That being said, you've got Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Ahmad, and Mbeumo. You maybe don't need to replace both your forwards this week. Maybe just Jesus to Mateta, Wood, Raul Jimenez, Wisser, and then leave Eva Nilsson for next week. I'd probably lean that way. Considering if you make both those moves, you're just going to give yourself a benching headache. I guess if João Pedro doesn't start, though. I think you need at least 1 forward transfer, basically, Shaunak. Should I start Wood or Raul Jimenez? I'd go Raul Jimenez in that situation. I prefer Raul Jimenez to Wood this week. MN Chuckstar, the legend, is back. Afternoon, Ross. Good afternoon. 2 dilemmas today. Would you start Colwill or Castagna? I would start Castagna. Have 2 free transfers. Would you rather roll and start Wood or get Sarr for Semenyo, start Sarr and bench Wood? Oh, that's a very tricky. Do you know what? I would make the move. I don't think Wood might get 1 return, but he might not even get bonus if he does. Like, Wood's ceiling isn't overly high for this game, I wouldn't imagine. Whereas I think Sarr could go out there and get you a couple of returns, if not a few returns. So I think I would make the move and bench Wood, just about. But yeah, I'd start Castagna ahead of Colwill. Start a Wobie or Wood? Wood. Timber or Robinson? Robinson. So I'd start Wood and Robinson. And then at least you're starting one of your Fulham assets as well. Hey Ross, do you have news about Luis Diaz? I don't. Should I transfer him out for Bruno or Mbeumo and who from them? And should I bring Solanke in for Watkins next game week? Right, I'll deal with your first question. I don't know anything about Luis Diaz, but I think Luis Diaz to Bruno Fernandes is a very nice transfer this week, and I wouldn't have a massive issue with making it, personally. In terms of should you bring in Solanke for Watkins next game week, I really don't mind that. Or in game week 23 if you want to make the move instead. But yeah, I think Solanke is a really fine option. It's probably someone that I should shout out more when I talk about the forward options. Chasing rank, Rodgers to Murphy. I think even if you're chasing rank, I just don't think that's the move I'd want to make. I think Rodgers is equally as good as Murphy. Like, you might slightly prefer Murphy over the next couple, but I just think over the medium to long term, I think Rodgers is as good. And it's not like Rodgers is really highly owned where you're not gaining anything from him. So I probably wouldn't do it. Oh, I really don't know with captaincy, chat. It's going to be a really annoying one because it's going to feel very obvious in hindsight. Like if Salah goes and gets a couple of returns, the hindsight merchants will be saying, well, yeah, well, it's Mohamed Salah. Of course he's going to do well. If Salah blanks, it'll be like, this is why you don't captain someone against a good defence, but it's worked before in the past. It's going to feel very, very hindsighty, I think. Lee Gordon says, hi, Ross, love your content. Pickford, Raya. Sorry, firstly, thank you very much. Pickford, Raya, Robinson, Aina, Hall, Trent, Gabriel, Salah, Cap, Palmer, Ahmad, Murphy, Sarr, Isak, Gakpo, Mateta. That's a lovely team. Really decent shouts in there. Like Ahmad, Murphy, Gakpo, Mateta, not that highly owned. What is the question? Who to bench? So I would start Raya instead of Pickford. Out of your 5 defenders, I think you bench Ola, Aina, and Robinson, and you start Hall, Trent, and Gabriel. And out of your attackers... Oh, that attacking decision is hard. Probably Gakpo, given that Forest are a decent defence. Because I just don't think you can bench... Like, you can't bench Ahmad, Murphy, or Mateta with their fixtures. It's probably Gakpo. So probably Pickford, Robinson, Aina, and Gakpo, just about. But that's not an easy decision, Lee, at all. Get Ahmad for Enzo. I have João Pedro, not sure he's starting. Again, I'd probably just keep Enzo. But I do think that Ahmad is a better option than Enzo. So if you've got the free transfers to make the move, maybe you go for it. João Pedro, Rodgers, Semenyo, bench 1. Probably Semenyo. Hi Ross, loving the content as always. Jesus injured, also got Isak and João Pedro. Who's the best striker option under 8 million until double game week 24? If you're only looking short term, it's probably someone like Raul Jimenez for the next few. I also think Mateta is a really decent shout. So if you're going short term, I think Mateta or Raul Jimenez. If you're going a little bit longer term, it's probably Wissa, maybe even Solanke as your 2 options there. It really depends on your own team, your outlook. Do you need to play them every week? What else might you use the funds on in the meantime? Like, there are a lot of things to think about, but hopefully that helps a little bit. 1 free transfer, Martinelli to Bruno or Roll. I'd be tempted to make that move, yeah. I'd be tempted to make that move. Will says, hey Ross, any news on João Pedro? The only news we've got is that he was due to train today and that a judgment call will be made as to whether it's worth the risk. And then Hertzler did clear up that he's not going to risk João Pedro, but if João Pedro feels happy and they feel like it's a calculated risk that they can take, they'll play him. My gut instinct, and I think a few Brighton fans seem to agree, is that he's probably on the bench. But could he start and get 60 minutes? He absolutely could. Especially as they've got injuries to the likes of like Minte and Ruta. Like, they don't have a particularly deep squad right now, Brighton. They've got injury issues. And like, Welbeck can only play so many minutes. My probable prediction is that Welbeck starts with João Pedro on the bench. Welbeck plays 60 to 70 minutes. And then if they need João Pedro, he'll come off the bench for the final 20 to 30. We have seen, though, on multiple occasions, how much damage João Pedro can do in limited minutes. He got an 11-pointer inside like 25 minutes previously. So I wouldn't discount João Pedro doing something from the bench. Start 1 of Robinson, Colwell and Castagna. I think you start probably Anthony Robinson of the 3. But I think that's quite close. But yeah, I'd probably go Anthony Robinson. Nicholas says, Jesus to Mateta and Kirkes to Castagna, or Jesus to Rao and Kirkes to Munoz. I probably prefer Jesus to Rao and Kirkes to Munoz. I'd probably go that way. Rodgers in, new manager bounce risk at Everton. I wouldn't worry too much. It wouldn't like put me off massively, Rodgers, because like we saw, Amorim's first game in charge was the 1-1 against Ipswich. Right, there was no real new manager bounce there. They actually struggled in that game quite a lot. So I wouldn't worry too much. Sarr to Bruno or Roll, 2 free transfers. Sarr to Bruno or Roll. I wouldn't do Sarr to Bruno, no. If you want Bruno, you find another route. Like, Sarr's such a good long-term hold, at least until blank game week 29. And that's assuming, of course, that they progress to the final. If Saar plays in blank game week 29, I think they've got Southampton away in game week 30. So Saar's just a really nice long-term option. Joe says, should I start Aina or Robinson? Should you start Aina or Robinson? I'd go Robinson. Wood or Rao? I'd go Raul Jimenez. Yeah, I'd probably bench both your Forest assets. As much as Forest are very good, and Liverpool have been a little bit off the ball recently, you'd still back Liverpool to win this game. And so I think you're fine to bench your Forest assets. Rodgers to Gordon, question mark? I like Rodgers as a long-term hold, but Gordon's a much better asset. Depends how many free transfers you have. Depends what you're going to do with the money elsewhere. It depends what your future plans are. But yeah, in isolation, I'd much rather have Gordon than Rodgers. But I think Rodgers is a really nice long-term option. Alexis says, hey man, love the content. Thank you, Alexis. Any news/updates on Isak? Nothing really, other than Eddie Howe was pretty positive last time he was asked. But apparently, according to him today, he is yet to train. Like, today was his first training session since the Arsenal game. If that's true, he's not going to have many training sessions before the game against Wolves. So you would imagine that his minutes might be managed slightly. I still think he's a fine captaincy option. I would be extremely surprised if Isak doesn't get at least 60 to 70. And I think if he's injured, then he just won't feature at all. So just make sure that if you're captaining Isak, you have a long, hard think about your vice-captain. You should always think about your vice-captain, but I think especially if you're captaining someone that you know has a chance of not featuring, you need to basically treat your vice-captain as if it is your captaincy and like really, really think about it. But yeah, it's a really nice team, Alexis. I would imagine that you get a very decently sized green arrow in Game Week 21. 3 a.m. in Melbourne. That is the dedication, but you should go to sleep very soon. Start Gvardiol or transfer in Munoz. I'd probably start Gvardiol. I don't think Munoz is that much better than Gvardiol for this week. And just like an extra transfer, an extra week of information, I'd probably be willing to just start Gvardiol. Izzy Gaming has been a member for 1 month. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mr. Eggstar, start João Pedro or Wood for safety? I think I'd just go Wood. Not safety for like ownership, but safety for minutes. Like there is a chance that João Pedro doesn't start and that he comes off the bench. So I'd probably go Chris Wood. Enzo to Ahmad. I can't afford to get Bruno. I don't mind that. Yeah, I've got no major issue with Enzo to Ahmad. I mean, I'm just going to keep Enzo because I think Enzo's fine. But if you do want a bit of the Man United attack, and listen, we would expect them to score a few goals against Southampton, then I don't mind Ahmad at all. Rohan says, 2 free transfers. Either roll one or use both. Will Diaz start? I don't know if Diaz will start. We might get early team news because Liverpool do play at 8 p.m, so 2 hours after the deadlines. There's a chance we get some early Liverpool team news. My gut instinct tells me yes, Diaz will start, but it could be Jota again as the 9. We obviously know it won't be Darwin because he's suspended. So it's going to be Jota or Diaz, and then Gakpo will start on the left. I suppose it could be Diaz on the left and Jota through the centre, but you'd imagine that Gakpo starts once again. Diaz to Bruno, already got Ahmad, and Jesus to Mateta, already have Isak and João Pedro. I don't mind that, to be fair. Do you know what? Diaz to Bruno and Jesus to Mateta, I'd be willing to do that anyway, even if I thought that Diaz would start. I think you're upgrading massively there for both spots, and you're dealing with Jesus, of course. I'd probably be willing to do that, yeah. Bench one of these. Diaz, Wissa, Isak, Wood. Bench one of them. Well, it's not Isak. Oh, that's very difficult. Maybe Chris Wood. Because Diaz is just a better option, as is Wissa, and they've both got slightly better fixtures. I think it might be Chris Wood there, but that's a very difficult one. Alex Joe says, hey, Egg, Fabianski, Forster, Saliba, Byrne, Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka, Keane, Bruno Fernandes, Salah and Burmo, Palmer, Rodgers, Unal, Isak, João Pedro, 3 free transfers. What would you do? I don't know how much money you've got in the bank, and I obviously can't sit here and work it out right now. But if I look at your team, what's the issue? It's the front line. Unal, Isak, João Pedro. So I would try and get Unal to Raul Jimenez. And that might be enough for this week. And then I think also moving forward, Wan-Bissaka, Dan Burn, they're not the best picks either. So maybe with your 2 free transfers, what you do, maybe it's something like a Saliba downgrade in order to fund Unal up to Chris Wood or Raul Jimenez or something similar to that. Because I don't think Saliba's a great pick anymore, personally. So that's probably where I'd lean there for your situation. Højlund or Xerxes? I wouldn't go for either because I genuinely don't know who's going to start. But if I had to predict right now, I think Xerxes might get the nod. I just think there's going to be a bit of rotation based on the game against Arsenal. Højlund obviously started that game. Xerxes, when he came on, was really good. And he also took the penalty really well. So that'll be a nice confidence boost. So I think it might be in Amorim's best interest to just give Xerxes the nod. And it should be a game where you would expect Man United to create enough chances that it might not be a massive issue if Xerxes misses a couple. Isak or Gordon for captaincy? I probably still prefer Isak over Gordon. Although if Isak doesn't play, Gordon's on pens. So, all right, settled. Isak captain and Bruno vice. I like that a lot. It's a nice setup. I might do something similar, you know. I'm still not fully... By the way, I'm still definitely not fully set on Salah captain. I could absolutely end up changing that. In terms of the poll right now, 37% of you are captaining Salah, 27% are captaining Palmer, 25% are captaining Isak, and 11% are captaining other. In terms of the other captaincy options, Bruno's quite popular, Haaland's obviously popular if you own him, and also Anthony Gordon seems to be quite popular too. I've also seen a few rogue shouts on players like Mateta, Ismail Assar, Eze, but it does look like it's going to be a relatively equal split between Salah, Palmer, and Isak. So there you go. There's definitely some upside potential this game week. I don't love Foden captaincy. Yeah, I know he scored the hat-trick against Brentford last year, but we've not really seen too many signs of that recently. I'm not going to sit there and say I hate it, but I wouldn't be tempted if I owned him. I think just, again, owning Foden is probably enough for me. My front three are João Pedro, Isak, and Jesus. Okay? 3 free transfers and 2.9 million in the bank. Please help. João Pedro, Isak, and Jesus. So Isak's fine. João Pedro might be. I mean, you deal with Jesus first. In terms of where you go, I think it's Solanke, Mateta, Wood, Raul Jimenez are your main options. I'd probably be tempted to go for Chris Wood in that situation. Just get a player in that you know you can rely on in the medium term. If João Pedro is out for this week and maybe out for next week, obviously next week he's got Southampton at home. I think I would probably go for Chris Wood in for Jesus as one of your transfers, and I'd probably hold on to João Pedro. In most situations, I don't think you need to sell him this week. Hi, Ross. Love your content. Is Verbruggen ahead of Raya a bad move? No, I don't think that's a bad move at all. I mean, I expect probably both to concede, but I don't hate it. Verbruggen probably makes more saves than Raya. Other than that, going with Trent, Cher, Robinson, Palmer Cap, Salah, Gordon, Sarr, Isak, Wood, João Pedro, and Enzo Davis and Dunk benched. It's a very strong teammate. I really, really like it. And yeah, I don't mind starting Verbruggen at all. Diaz to Bruno, or is that a bad transfer long term? No, it's not a bad transfer long term at all. I mean, going into Game Week 24, you're going to think, oh, I'd like to have Diaz back. But other than that 1 week, like, can I confirm that he even starts the Ipswich game in Game Week 23? No. And does he even start both games in the double? Maybe not. I think Diaz to Bruno is a nice long-term upgrade, I would say personally. Also, Bruno's definitely going to play in Game Week 29, whereas Diaz has a chance of not playing. So, start one of Watkins, Wood, Robinson. Oh, I wouldn't start Robinson. I think if you expect Watkins to start Watkins. If you think he'll be on the bench, start Chris Wood. I think there's a chance he's benched for Duran, so I'm going to say I would start Chris Wood in that situation. But if he starts, I think Watkins is probably a better option. Akshan says Flecken to Pickford and Colwell to Hall for free. I don't think you need to make the Flecken move this week, particularly. I don't think Pickford's got that great of a chance for a clean sheet. Colwell to Hall feels wonderful. I think Colwell to Hall and then probably Roll would be what I would do, but I agree that Pickford is an upgrade on Flecken. Lewis says, I have Watkins with only 1 free transfer. Should I keep him or buy Wood? I'd probably make the move. As I said, I just think there's a small chance Duran starts, and even if he doesn't start, Watkins probably doesn't get more than 60 to 70 minutes. Should I transfer Saliba to Hall or Munoz for free or a -4? Oh, that's tough then, because in that case, I might keep Watkins, Lewis, and then just make the second move. I feel like Saliba to Hall or Munoz for free makes sense. I wouldn't do that for a -4. So I think if you make the forward move, don't make the defender move, but I'd maybe prioritise the defender move instead. Currently tied first in my mini-league. Should I captain Isak/Palmer as a differential or go safe and captain Salah? Pretty sure the other guy is going to captain Salah. It depends how different the rest of your team is. If the rest of your team is really similar and you just want to block him, that's fine. All I will say is there's a long way to go this season. I would probably ignore your mini league rivals and just play the game to the best of your ability. If you think Isak's the best captain, Captain Isak. If you think Salah's the best captain, Captain Salah. I think it's a little bit early to start trying to guess and block your mini league rivals, unless you're playing like a monthly thing. In which case, I'd be tempted to maybe take the risk. Thoughts on Jackson to Isak? Are you using a chip? Jackson to Isak, I think, is a very good transfer. I'd probably make that. Am I using a chip? Not this week. No. The next chip I play is probably going to be game week 30 or 31, which will be the wild card. I think that's the next plan that I've got. Sanko says, greetings, Ross. Greetings. Trent Munoz, Gabriel, Vandenberg, Howson Rogers, Enzo Palmer, Salah Foden, João Pedro, Isak Wood. 2 free transfers and 1.3 in the bank. Any transfers you would make? Thanks. Defense is sorted. Right, you don't need to make a defender transfer. Trent Munoz, Gabriel, all good this week. Rogers, Enzo, Palmer, Salah, Foden, João Pedro, Isak Wood. Yeah, and then you could just bench João Pedro for Enzo, I suppose. The only transfers that would be tempting for me is João Pedro to Raul Jimenez or Enzo to Sarr or Ahmad. I'd be tempted to make those moves, but otherwise, Sanko, it's a very decent team. Mateta or Raul to start? If you're only starting one, Mateta, but surely you are not in a position where you're benching one of Raul Jimenez or Mateta. I'd bench anyone else. I'd even bench Rogers probably ahead of both of those. So yeah, I'd find a way to start both. Happy New Year to you as well, Anantha. Would you take a -4 to remove Erdegaard and João Pedro to bring in Gordon and Raul? I'd maybe just do the Erdegaard move and just do Erdegaard to Gordon. I don't mind that. I don't know that I'd do both. So maybe just pick the one that you want to do and don't do both of them. Bench Rogers or João Pedro? I'd probably start Rogers just because I think João Pedro, if they were both going to play 90, is probably a slightly better option, but he's probably not going to play 90, whereas Rogers has a very good chance of doing so. Feels like Eze is going under the radar. He's not even that much more expensive than Sarr. I mean, money is very tight at the moment, but I agree. Eze is absolutely going under the radar. But that money does go a long way. Whatever it is, like 0.7 million, is it? Something like that. Captain Haaland, no-brainer. It's a no-brainer if you have Haaland. Well, I still don't think it's a no-brainer. But yeah, I would captain Haaland if I owned him. But 90% of us can't afford Haaland in our team, right? Because we've built a team that is good outside of that. Bench Enzo or João Pedro? See, that might be the most difficult benching decision. Because I think João Pedro is just a better asset than Enzo. But his minutes aren't secure. I would probably start Enzo. Kirkes or Robinson, and Wood or Raul, thoughts? I would start Robinson ahead of Kirkes, and I would start Raul Jimenez ahead of Wood. So I would bench Robinson and Wood. As good as they've both been this season. Raya and Jesus to Alisson and Mateta, 0.1 short from one move. Yeah, I quite like that, Ray. If that's for free, yes. Not if it's for a hit. Who are the best goalkeepers? It might be Pickford and Alisson just because they have the extra fixture. Outside of that, it's difficult to look past Sells at the moment. I'd be very tempted to still go there. Even though the fixtures aren't perfect, you know? Sorry, just clicking my back, as you do. It's not for a hit. Oh, it's for a hit, not free. Oh, I don't know if I'd do it for a hit then. Sells over Verbruggen. Yeah, I probably would go Sells over Verbruggen. Verbruggen's not been very good this season, and I don't massively trust Brighton. Hi, Ross. Trent Cole or Robinson Aina, bench one? Probably Colwell. I'd probably start Trent, Robinson, and Aina. Bench Rogers or Robinson? I'd bench Robinson and start Rogers. Wissa or Cunha? Probably Wissa for me. Chelsea play on Friday in Game Week 24 and then Friday for Game Week 25. Do you think Jackson will be on the bench? That's a week break. No, I don't think so. Start Solanke or Rogers? Probably Rogers. Pedro or Rogers? I'd start Rogers and bench Pedro. Monday in 24, I meant. I think that's a long enough break, though. That's like a 5-day break, right? Tuesday, Monday. It's Saturday, though. Oh, here, you think. That's Monday the 3rd and Friday the 14th, mate. There's an 11-day gap between those. I mean, in the meantime, they've got their FA Cup 4th round game. Can't even remember who Chelsea have, but yeah, that's not a worry because it's 11 days between the games. Would you sell Martinelli for Gordon? If it was for free, I would do it. Start Semenyo or João Pedro? I don't think Semenyo will get that much. I would probably go João Pedro there, just about. Got a super chat from AKU. Says, hi, Ross. Glad to be back to FPL life. Me too. We do miss it, even though it beats us up and chucks us out. Chews us up and chucks us out. Well, chews us up and spits us out. Is that what they're saying? Anyway, we love it and we hate it. I'm thinking of selling Cunha this week. I have Isak and Wood, 3.9 million in the bank. My 3 options are Mateta, Rao, and Wissa. What do you think? I think short term, Mateta, Rao, Wissa. Medium term, Rao, Mateta, Wissa. Longer term, probably Wissa, Mateta, Rao. Something like that. Basically, I think it depends on your outlook. Like, if you're looking to really target the immediate fixtures, it's obviously not Wissa. He's got City, Liverpool, Palace. It's not 3 like really attackable fixtures. Mateta's fixtures are really nice, though. I actually don't mind the fixtures for Raul Jimenez either. I think I'd go Mateta or Raul Jimenez for now, AKU. I'll let you decide which one you want to go for. Chelsea have Brighton in the FA Cup. Thank you, Claudette. That is true. So maybe if he plays in that game, it might become more of a concern, his minutes. I think Jackson's pretty nailed on, though, I'll be honest. Bench 1 of Wood, Enzo, Rogers. Enzo, probably. I'm in a very similar position myself. I've got the 3 of them. That's what I need to decide, and I'm benching Enzo. Blicky94 says, hi Ross, I have Gabriel, Colwell, Castagna, Kirkes, Greaves. Okay, Semenyo, Gordon, Palmer, Salah. Okay, and then Isak, Jesus, Mateta. 2 free transfers and 2.1 million in the bank. Thinking Colwell to Munoz and Semenyo to Ahmad. Could get Bruno, though. I think Jesus is more of a problem, really, isn't he? Would you not be more tempted to just keep Semenyo and sort out the Jesus situation? I guess you can get away with benching Jesus this week. If that were my team, I'd probably focus on doing Jesus first. But otherwise, I think Colwell to Munoz and Semenyo to Ahmad's really nice. I would be very tempted to just buy Ahmad and not go to Bruno. Yeah, I would be tempted to save the money and just go Ahmad. By the way, if you are enjoying this stream, can I please ask you to smash that like button? I really do appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe. Most importantly, if you're only going to do one of the 2, subscribe. But preferably if you can do both at the same time, that'd be very useful. Hi, Ross. Hope you're doing fine. I'm doing well, thank you. A little bit tired, but we soldier on. What do you think of Ødegaard to Bruno with 1 free transfer? I have Isak and João Pedro, but I don't really want to sell them. Cheers. I think Ødegaard to João Pedro for free makes a lot of sense. So yes, it's only 1 free transfer, but I still think I'd probably do it. I'm going to say yes, just about. AG has been a member for 38 months. Would you risk starting João Pedro, brackets Castagna first bench, or sell him to Mateta? Ooh, I would probably keep João Pedro. I'd be tempted to start Castagna ahead of João Pedro. I think I'd still start João Pedro, but I would be tempted to just not take a risk on the minutes. But I think João Pedro is a fine long-term hold. Glad we get these free chats. Yes, me too. You deserve it for being a member. Thank you. As a follow-on, my thinking is large part of Ahmad and Semenyo upside starts this game week and don't want to take a hit. I think go for it then, probably. I think you trust your gut feeling as well. I think you've got a good feeling about it. I'd probably do it. Start Rodgers or Wood. I think I'd go Rodgers ahead of Wood. How long we got till the deadline? We have got an hour and 15 minutes until the deadline. Love your stuff, mate. The podcast really helps to have on when I'm doing coursework or exam prep. Cheers from Bournemouth. Cheers to Bournemouth, and thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy. That means a lot. Do you think Fabianski will start? I think so. I don't know so, though. Could be Areola. Marmouche Price. I have no idea. Honestly, no idea. I don't know enough about the man. Start Raya or Fabianski? I'd go Raya there, I think. Is João Pedro starting? My current prediction is that he's probably going to be on the bench. But I don't know. He could be anything from not in the squad to on the bench to in the starting 11. As useless as that is. As useless as that is, I don't actually know. Start Wood or Semenyo? I'd go Wood. Start Wood or Mbermo? I'd start Mbermo there. Sell or keep Erdegaard? I think if you've got the free transfers to move to Bruno, I'd be tempted. But you could keep him a little bit longer. He probably will still take the next penalty. He's still taking in swinging set pieces. And Spurs still aren't a particularly good defence. Start one out of Aina, Robinson or Lewis. Oof, that's a tough one. I'd probably go Robinson. Start Pedro or Colwill. Cole's upside isn't very high. I'd probably still start João Pedro in that situation. Start Tarkowski or Aina. I'd probably start Ola Aina. Is Henderson fit? I think so. I think someone said they saw him in training, but I've not really been following because I don't have Henderson myself, and I don't think he's very highly owned, so I've not really been keeping an eye out for it. But I think he'll probably be okay. Bench Solanke or Wissa? I'd probably start Wissa and bench Solanke. Wissa's got the better fixture. Mateta or Raul Jimenez? I think considering the price difference, Raul Jimenez, if they were the same price, I'd actually go Mateta for me personally. But you're saving a lot. You're saving like 1.6 million or 1.5 million going for Raul Jimenez. I don't think Mateta is 1.6 million better than Raul Jimenez. So I would probably go for Raul Jimenez and save the money. Start Wood or João Pedro? I'd probably start Chris Wood. Who would you sell Wissa to? I probably wouldn't. I'd keep Wissa. But if you are going to, I think you've got to attack. Like, if you're selling Wissa, you've got to attack the fixtures. So I'd probably go Mateta. Would you captain Ahmad? Probably not. There is a chance he plays at right wing back in this game. I don't think it's that high. I think it will be Anthony at right wing back, or it will be Mazraoui at right wing back, and Malacia is the left wing back. Because remember, Dalot is suspended. But there is also a chance that he just drops Ahmad into right wing back and plays Garnacho and Bruno as the 10s. I'm ranked 7k at the moment, Ross. A cheeky invite to the podcast. I tell you what, if you can get into the top 1k, I'll consider it. Drop me a message. We'll see what we can do. But in all seriousness, very, very, very good rank at this stage of the season. Absolutely massive. Thank you as always for the support. And yeah, best of luck for GameWeek 21. But yeah, big props for that rank. That's crazy. Bench one of Trent Hall, Gabriel Munoz. Bench one of Trent Hall, Gabriel Munoz. That is a disgusting benching headache. I wouldn't bench Trent and I wouldn't bench Hall. Do you know what? I'd bench Gabriel. I would bench Gabriel, or I'd play a 4 at the back. That's such a tough benching headache. This is why I'm quite glad that I've not got Lewis Hall this week, because I think it gives you a real dilemma as to who you start. Benjamin says, hi Ross, I've got Raya, Trent, Hall, Gabriel, Lewis, Enzo, Semenyo, Salah, Mbermo, Murphy, Jackson, Isak and Cunha, Barco and Valdemarson. I'm thinking Enzo and Semenyo to Rodgers and Ahmad with my 2 free transfers. I don't think you need to do the Enzo... I don't think you need to do Enzo to Rodgers. I think you could just get away with doing Semenyo to Ahmad this week and leaving it there. Like, is there that much to gain by doing Enzo to Rodgers this week? I do think Rodgers is a better option, but I could easily see Enzo outscoring Rodgers this week. So I would probably just do one of the moves. But overall, I do think they are both upgrades. So yeah, maybe you just go for it. Which forwards would you pick on a wild card? It's a great question. I would have Isak and Chris Wood, and then my third one would be one of Mateta or Raul Jimenez, probably. Although Wissa and Solanke deserve some props as well. Maybe I would go Wissa and just have him in place ready. Even Gakpo, like, I'm not giving Gakpo probably enough consideration either. There actually are more forwards to choose from than we've had in recent weeks. And even like Cunha coming back from suspension now could end up being a decent shout. Nash United says, hi Ross, are you seriously contemplating having Bruno as captain? No, not for me. Clearly Salah would seem logical, but that's not an easy fixture. Palmer has a good fixture, but not great. Bruno seems a terrible choice. Seems a great... Wait. Bruno seems a terrible choice. So I'm confused by the point of your statement, because I'm not captaining Bruno. I don't think Bruno's a terrible choice at all, actually. I think Bruno's a decent captaincy shout, but I'm not considering it. I also think Palmer's fixture isn't as great as people are suggesting. If you didn't support United and you're looking outside the box, is Bruno the best cap? I don't know about the best captain, but he's certainly a good captain. Hi, Russ. How's your league with Stormzy, Chunks and co? Who's winning? I'm like 100 and something points clear. None of them are doing particularly well this season. So I'm just... And I'm not even doing that well, but they're all stinking it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortably clear in that league. Frosty says 35 months. We need 3-year badges. Yeah, we probably do need 3. I don't even think they offer that, but we probably do. Mr. Man United, do you have any concerns about Ahmad rotation for Southampton? I'm obviously starting him, but I have Wood or Lewis on my bench if needs be. Nah. He can't bench Ahmad, I don't think. And the thing is, I know the reason that Ahmad was on the bench is because he had a slight issue. Unless that issue is still ongoing, he's just had his rest. Like, fitness-wise... He wasn't sprinting around for 90 minutes or 120 like some people. So I would imagine that he's fine. I'd be very surprised if Ahmad doesn't start. I just don't think Ahmad misses any of... I think Ahmad's as important to Man United as Bruno at the moment. So I just think Ahmad starts every game. I could be wrong. But my gut feeling tells me that you're fine. But no, I wouldn't captain Ahmad. I just think Ahmad's a good option, but you're not giving him the captaincy armband. Start Wood in a 3-5-2 or Rico Lewis in a 4-5-1. Probably Wood. Isak too risky as captain with potential injury, maybe. I would agree with that. I think Isak is... I don't know about too risky, but it is a big risk that I just don't want to take for me. Robinson or Timber? Robinson. I would love Isak to be out, because I really don't want to bench Enzo. And I know other people will be like, mate, Enzo's not very good. I've got a really bad feeling that Enzo's going to finally go massive and he's sat on my bench. I don't like putting him there. I am very tempted to start Enzo instead of Chris Wood. But if I'm starting Enzo, do I then just captain Palmer and go all in? I don't know. Why are you benching Robinson? Who am I starting instead of Robinson? Oh, sorry, who am I benching instead of Robinson? Because I'm not benching Munoz. I'm not benching Trent. So what you're telling me is, would you start Robinson instead of Wood or Gabriel, I guess? And I don't want to, so that's why. Bring in Allison for Verbruggen this week. No, I'd just keep Verbruggen, probably. Start 3 of Hall, Robinson, Gordon, Enzo, and Rao. I'd probably start Gordon, Rao, and Hall And bench Robinson and Enzo. Odegaard to Bruno from -4. No. Bench Salah against the mighty Forest. Sorry, Ross. I meant Bruno may be a good shout. In that case, yes, I agree with you that he's a good shout. I was a bit confused by the statement. I was like, he's a terrible shout? Hi, Ross. Really stuck on benching decisions this week. Bench 3 of Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Robinson, Munoz, Iwobi, Sarr, Wood. Currently on Wood, Robinson, Gabriel. I think Robinson, Gabriel, and Iwobi would be where I would go. But I understand why you might want to start Iwobi over Wood. But yeah, I'd probably bench Iwobi ahead of Wood. He's just not been very good recently, Iwobi, from an FPL perspective. Sorry about the sniffling. I appear to have picked up a slight cold. Bench Robinson or Colwill? I'd bench Colwill. Wood or Rogers? I'd bench Wood. Yeah, I'd bench Colwill and Wood there. Shazam with the super chat says, thank you as always, my friend. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope you had a good weekend with Pickle. I think you've covered this, but missed the reply. Which one to bench? Wood, João Pedro, or Rogers? Thanks for the content as always, mate. I had a lovely weekend. It was actually really nice to not have football and also to not have a deadline stream on a Saturday. As much as I love Saturday deadline streams, I woke up, had a bit of a lie-in, and then we went for a long walk and a Toby Carvery, which was wonderful. Who to bench from Wood, João Pedro, or Rogers? I just think Wood and Rogers are both great shouts. And if João Pedro is the only one that's a real minutes risk, I think you just bench João Pedro. If they were all starting again equal minutes, I'd probably bench Chris Wood. So basically, if you think João Pedro starts, I'd bench Chris Wood. If there are any doubts around whether João Pedro starts in your mind, I'd probably just bench him. Rogers would be the one that I wouldn't bench there, Shazam. But thank you as always, my friend. I appreciate you. Start Murphy or João Pedro? Murphy, probably. Just about. Bench Rico Lewis or Robinson? I'd start Robinson. Bench Rico Lewis. Gordon or Bruno? I'd go Gordon, I think. I think Gordon's a marginally better asset and he's 0.7 million cheaper. So yeah, I'd go for Anthony Gordon. I think the only way Bruno outscores Gordon in the next 5 to 6 weeks is if he gets a couple of pens, which he can do, but you are reliant on the pens. Otherwise, I'd expect Gordon to outscore Bruno from open play. Buy Ahmad or Sarr long term? I think Ahmad is a slightly better long-term option because Sarr has a very good chance of blanking in 29, whereas Ahmad will not be blanking in 29. So you might have an extra transfer you need, unless you free hit, that you might need to make in 29 if you go for Sarr rather than Ahmad. Are you keeping Isak? Yes, I am. I'm not captaining him. I'm not even vice-captaining him, but I'm definitely keeping him. Start one of Enzo, Semenyo, Castagna, Munoz. Probably Munoz, honestly. Start Gibbs White or Sarr? Definitely Sarr. Bench Jackson or Wood? Wood. I'd start Jackson ahead of Wood. What about his yellow flag? Loads of players have flagged. The flag means nothing. The flag just means he's a slight doubt. But I think Isak's okay. Start Enzo or Wood? I would start Wood. Already have Palmer and Jackson. Yeah, so maybe even more so Chris Wood then in that case. Nicholas says, hi Ross, hope you're doing great. I am, thank you. Bench 2 of the following players, Colwill, Robinson, Luca Dean, Sarr, Rogers, João Pedro and Wood. I'd bench Colwill and Luca Dean, and I'd start Robinson, Sarr, Rogers and João Pedro and Wood. There are some suggestions that Maatsen might start ahead of Luca Dean, and Colwill's just not got a very high ceiling, so... Would you sell Gvardiol for Hall? I'd be very tempted, yeah. I would be very, very tempted. Depends how many other transfers you've got, what the rest of the state of your team looks like, but yeah, I'd be super tempted. Bench Hall or Trent? I couldn't bench Trent. I just couldn't bench Trent, so I would bench Hall. But I actually would have Hall and Trent as the top 2 defenders this week. So whoever your 3rd defender is, or 4th defender, bench them instead. I think you've got to start both Trent and Hall. I don't think you can bench either of them. Start Greaves or Saliba. Saliba. Start Wood or Mbermo. Mbermo. Would you transfer Kulusevski out for Bruno? Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's obviously you're utilising quite a lot of money there, so as long as you don't need that money elsewhere, then yeah, I would do it. Bramjot says, Consa / VVD, I have Wood in. What is... If you live in Nottingham, you'll know there's a guy that cycles around with a speaker on the back of his bike. That was so loud that I was actually worried I'd get copyright strike. That's the loudest his speaker has ever been. He cycles around Nottingham with this like a monstrous speaker on the back of his bicycle. But that was loud music. Consa / Van Dijk. I have Wood in. Foden to Bruno for cash. Van Dijk still. I would go Van Dijk. Foden to Bruno for cash. Not just for cash. I still think it's a good move. I would keep Foden, though. I think Foden could do well over the next couple of games. Hilarious, Ross. He is unbearable. He's so loud. Yeah, it's a really loud speaker. When it comes to clashes, like I know a lot of people are saying, like, I've got Kanate and Trent, so do I bench Chris Wood? Like, I do believe that if you can avoid clashes, it's great, but sometimes it's a good thing. Like, I'll point to the Arsenal-Brighton game. If you'd have benched João Pedro because you had double Arsenal defence, not only would you have lost your double Arsenal clean sheet, but you would have benched João Pedro, you know? So sometimes starting a player that's playing against your defenders isn't the end of the world. Start Wissa or Enzo. I'd go Wissa. Eze or Sarr. If they were the same price... One sec, chat. I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
FPL Pickle is here. Say hello.
Hi, I'm in the car, so I'm probably not going to change my team, and it is probably a bad idea because I captain Bruno. But what can you do?
Captain Bruno from FPL Pickle. Okay, I was worried that you were driving home and that there was an issue, so I muted myself, but that's fine.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah, best of luck for the drive home, and I hope Bruno gets a hat-trick for you.
Let's pray. It's a risky move, but you know what? What else is there to lose at this point?
Exactly. All right, cool. I'll speak to you soon.
All right, bye.
Love you, mate. A cheeky call from FPL Pickle. Pickle the real FPL GOAT. Pickle is the real FPL GOAT. Really, genuinely. Like last season, she finished top 2k. This season, she's still top 100k. She's just consistently better than me. I've just got to accept it. Sorry, what was the question? The question was Eze or Sarr. If they were the same price, I'd go Eze. They're closing in price, actually. Do you know what? I may well say Eze now, but I think if you've got a use for the funds, I still think Sarr's really decent. Enzo for Gordon and Jesus for Duran. I wouldn't go back to Duran. Fixtures aren't quite there over the next couple. I still don't know that he's definitely first choice ahead of Watkins. Like, it might be that he's on the naughty step now and Watkins continues to start. Whom to bench? Isak, Nico, Cold, Salah, Sarr, Ahmad, Wood, Gordon. Can I say no one there? It's probably Chris Wood that you bench there. You can't bench Isak. You wouldn't bench Jackson. No Palmer, Salah. Obviously, Sarr, Ahmad. I think it has to be Chris Wood of those options. Greetings, Ross. Sells, Virgil, Lewis, Hall, Gabriel, Salah, Palmer, Ahmad, Enzo, Gordon, Wood, Isak, Jesus, Okay. Cool. Gabriel to Mateta. I assume you mean Gabriel Jesus to Mateta. Or Enzo to Bruno. And what's the best 11? Lots of questions there. In terms of who you're benching, I think you're probably benching Rico Lewis out of your defenders. And from your attackers, it's probably Enzo Fernandez. But I suppose if you do Enzo to Bruno, then you don't have that. I think Enzo to Bruno Fernandez is probably better than Gabriel Jesus to Mateta. So I would probably go for Bruno Fernandes, Rishi. Hopefully that helps. Hi Ross, I have Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Munoz, and Robinson. Which 3 would you start? Hi Ross, I have Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Munoz, and Robinson. Which 3 would you start? I would bench Robinson, and I would start. I would start Gabriel, Hall, Munoz. A bit of a bench headache this week. You could say that again. That's not a great... I mean, I'm benching Robinson, though, and I don't have a massive issue with it. I think you're fine, Nathan. Very nice situation to be in, I would just say. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. By the way, if you're one of the 3,000 people watching right now, probably roughly 400 to 500 of you have not yet subscribed. Can I please ask you to subscribe? I really do appreciate it. It goes a long way. So yeah, if you've not subscribed... Also, whilst you're clicking the subscribe button... Can you smash the like button as well? Nottingham is... Why are people now just holding their... What's that called? What's that thing called? A beep? Chad, what's the thing called on the wheel? A beep? A bib? A bibber? A beeper? What is... A horn. Horn. People are just holding down their... I don't know if that's picked up on the mic, but... People are not happy outside. I got there in the end. I couldn't remember what that was called. I was like, what's the thing called that you... I wouldn't do that because I'm a very... Oh my God, I've lost all of my words. I'm a very calm driver. I don't have much of a temper. As you can probably tell, I'm a very relaxed... Chat, am I okay? Why are the words not leaving my mouth the way I would like? Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I am, thank you, Jesmar. Would Pedro Rogers start too? I think you bench Pedro because he's a slight doubt in terms of minutes. Otherwise, I'd bench Chris Wood. Rogers, I wouldn't bench. Castagna or Colwill, Castagna. Rogers or João Pedro, Rogers. And that is start, by the way, not bench. Next 4 to 5 game weeks, Bruno and Sarr or Mbermo and Eze. Next 4 to 5 game weeks, Bruno and Sarr. Beyond that, I think Mbermo will start to become a really nice option. Next 4 to 5, Bruno and Sarr. Across the next 12, I reckon Mbermo and Eze. So... It depends. Start Robinson or Van Dijk. I'd still start Van Dijk, I think, just about. Eggman has lost it. -4 brain cells. I don't think I am okay, no, but thank you for asking. Evening, Ross. Enzo to Ahmad or Murphy? I think I'd go Ahmad still. Bob says, I have Henderson, Murphy, Isak, and João Pedro flagged. Okay. Are any of them worth a sell or a benching? Semenyo, Lewis, and Harwood Bellis on the bench. Love you. I wouldn't sell Henderson. Wouldn't sell Murphy, Easy. I don't think any are worth selling, really. But I think the fact that you've only got Semenyo on the bench to cover for João Pedro or Murphy or Isak, maybe Semenyo's the one you sell. Maybe Semenyo to a better player and then bench João Pedro. I just think you don't have great cover considering that if Murphy and Isak and João Pedro all missed out, you'd probably be in a bad situation. I wouldn't sell any of the 4 flag players, but I would be tempted to move Semenyo out. Unless you think Semenyo could do quite well. Jesus ACL injury confirmed by Arsenal. Let me have a look. Yeah, okay. 7 minutes ago, Arsenal confirmed that Gabriel Jesus has an ACL injury. That's awful for him because he was just getting back into the team, wasn't he? So yeah, Jesus, ACL, a definite sell. There's no point keeping him. I'm hoping he'll return soon. Kieran sells Gabriel, Munoz, Trent, Kirkes, Vandenberg, Semenyo, Erdegaard, Palmer, Salah, Enzo Wood, Pedro, Isak. 1.8 million in the bank. What would you change? Well, I don't know how many free transfers you've got. If you don't have any or you only have 1 free transfer, you could definitely roll that team. You've got a decent enough back 3. The midfield isn't awful. In terms of what would I change ideally, I don't love Erdegaard, Semenyo and Enzo. I think your midfield is a little bit weak. I think Erdegaard to Gordon or Bruno is an upgrade. And I think then Enzo or Semenyo, probably Semenyo to someone like Ahmad or Sarr is also an upgrade. I think in an ideal world, Erdegaard to Bruno, and Semenyo to Eze would massively upgrade that team. But I don't know how many free transfers you've got, Kieran. So yeah, that would be along the lines of what I would start to do with that team. Nikhil says, hey, Ross, you beautiful egg. Hello. Thoughts on transferring Martinelli out to Gordon or rolling my transfer? I'd probably make that move, yeah. Also, start Sells or Fabianski. I'd start Fabianski. I know Forest are a great defence, but you still expect Liverpool to score. Hi, Ross, you missed my super chat. Did I moha? Oh, yeah, I did. Buy one of Munoz or Hall. I think I'd still go Lewis Hall. And whom would you sell, Lewis or Timber? I'd sell Timber. I'd sell Timber and I'd buy Lewis Hall. Also, play João Pedro or Wood. I'd play Wood ahead of João Pedro. Sorry for missing your first super chat. Bench João Pedro, Kulusevski, Rogers. Benched will be first sub. Where would I go there? I think I would probably say I'd probably bench Kulusevski and start João Pedro and Rogers. Neville says, sell Erdegaard for Bruno or Mbeumo or save a transfer. I would personally feel pretty comfortable doing Erdegaard to Bruno. I think if you're doing Erdegaard to Mbeumo, I'm not sure you need to make that move this week. I'm not sure that is a massive upgrade this week. But obviously Erdegaard to Bruno, you're getting a much better fixture. So I would probably be willing to do the former, but not the latter. FPL Sings here, good to see you. Would you start João Pedro or Rogers? I would start Rogers and bench João Pedro, personally. By the way, I've had almost 7,000 votes on the captaincy poll. 38% captaining Salah, 28% Palmer, and 24% Isak. I think captaincy is going to be fairly equal this week, but obviously you're watching a streamer that has Salah in as their captain. So obviously, if you're here right now, potentially slightly more likely to have Salah captain, which is why it's probably slightly inflated. You have got just over 45 minutes until the deadline. Just over 45 minutes until the deadline. I'm hoping we do get early team news on Liverpool. It would be nice to just get that confirmation around Trent Alexander-Arnold, wouldn't it? Bench one of Van Dijk, Trent, Robinson, Gabriel. Maybe you spread the risk a little bit and bench Van Dijk. I would start Trent and Gabriel personally. What about Haaland captain? Yeah, I really like Haaland captain. Most people don't own him, so. Start Wood or Rogers? I would start Rogers ahead of Wood. With the Bournemouth injuries, Altara is now a great differential. Yeah, but if you looked at their fixtures, you just don't want a Bournemouth player for the next 3 fixtures. I mean, he could be an okay shout, but it just doesn't inspire me massively. Is this the final team, Rossi boy? Yes, I think so. Captaincy is not the final thing, though. And I am still slightly tempted to start Enzo ahead of Wood. But I'm probably going to leave it as it is. Wissa first sub if no João Pedro. Upgrade. Ryan 8 Nuri replacement. I need to see the rest of your team, but Hall and Munoz are the standout defenders to buy. I think Wissa's great. In fact, I would start Wissa ahead of João Pedro probably. I think Wissa's great this week. You'd expect them to at least get 1 goal against City, potentially 2. Why Salah cap and not Palmer? You could say that about any captaincy decision ever, any week. Why are you captaining this player, not captaining that player? Is just a guessing game. I kind of have the mantra that I only go against Salah if there is a real standout alternative. No, I just don't really see that in Palmer right now. Is Bruno captain worth the risk? Love Ross. Big love. Yeah, it could be. FPL Pickle is captaining Bruno Fernandes. I know a few decent managers that are captaining Bruno Fernandes. I've got no issue with it at all. Don't think I'm going to go there myself, but yeah, I don't mind Bruno vice cap. Bruno captaincy, at the very least, It's the final game of the game week. So at the very least, you've got that hope until the end. And listen, if Salah and Palmer have a slightly quiet evening tonight, you are going to be sat there thinking, I've got Bruno captain on Thursday. That's great. Start Timber or Robinson? Robinson, Matt. What to do with Gvardiol? I think if you've got multiple free transfers, Gvardiol to Hall or Munoz feels pretty easy. I also think you could just wait and in 23 bring in a Liverpool defender. So Konate or Van Dijk. Assuming you've already got Trent, of course. Is Ahmad a shout for captaincy? Nah, not for me. Pickle captaining Fernandez, that makes the decision for me, Bruno captain. Yeah, she has been pretty good. Whenever she trusts her gut feeling, it tends to go quite well. Are you scared not having Gordon? I'm in the same boat right now. I wouldn't say scared. Like, would I like to own Gordon? Yes, but I don't think you should be scared. Like, you can't own everyone. If I had Gordon, it would mean that I don't have Fernandez. Or if I had Gordon instead of Rodgers, it would mean I didn't have Mateta because I wouldn't be able to afford. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't afford everyone. And even if it feels like you do, you're missing out on some other options. So, no, I'm pretty happy with the team. But yeah, in an ideal world, if I was wildcarding, I'd of course have Anthony Gordon in there. Start Rodgers or Martinelli? Rodgers. Is Isak available? We think Isak is available, yes, but we don't know that. You never know with Eddie Howe. You never know. I can't go against Salah. It almost feels like some are banking on the feeling that he can't continue like this. I think people... I mean, I almost did that like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I can't remember what... Let me have a look if I can remember. It might have even... No, it wasn't that game. When was it? One of these games here, it wouldn't have been Leicester either. I can't remember. Maybe it was the West Ham game. I just remember sitting there thinking, Salah can't carry on doing this. Maybe it is the time to finally back against Salah because he's not going to do this every week. And he just keeps doing it every week. So I agree that that is not a good reason to go against him. You would imagine that at some point it does slow down. And it's not a great fixture. But I think it's being slightly overblown how bad of a fixture this is for Salah, personally. Liz Clark says, good morning. I have Munoz, Gabriel, Trent. Firstly, good morning. I don't know what time zone you're in, but it is. I wish it was the morning for me. It is not the morning. In fact, I wish it was nighttime. I'd like to go to sleep. I have Munoz, Gabriel, Trent, Gordon, Salah, Rodgers, Palmer, Wood, João Pedro, Isak. And my bench is Enzo, Robinson, Mikalenko. Very nice. 1 free transfer and 2.5 million in the bank. Sell or bench João Pedro? I'll be honest, I'd be very tempted to just bench João Pedro and start Enzo Fernandez, or even start João Pedro and then have Enzo Fernandez coming off the bench if you need him. If it were my team, I would probably do that. If you're going to sell him, though, you could go straight to Mateta. You could go to Solanke. Or you could just go for a similarly priced forward in someone like Raul Jimenez. I think... you've got Chris Wood, haven't you? I think I would probably roll the transfer. Thoughts on Gordon captain? I don't mind it. If Isak's out, Gordon will be on penalties. But assuming that Isak's not out, I just think Isak's a better option than Gordon, even if he plays slightly fewer minutes. So I probably wouldn't captain Gordon, no. Start Timber or Wood? Probably Wood. Yeah, probably Wood. Glad to see you going Salah cap as well. 68k. Fantastic rank. Oscar says, Gabriel, Trent, Hall, Munoz, Pedro. Who do I bench? I think it's Gabriel or João Pedro. I don't think you can bench Trent, Hall, and Munoz. So I think you either play a 4 at the back with Gabriel or you start João Pedro. I'd probably start Gabriel. Solanke shout out of nowhere. He's still not in my top 3 options, I don't think, but he's starting to look a little bit better. He's getting a little bit closer to goal. His baseline bonus has increased slightly. He just looks a bit more like a number 9. Like previously, he looked like he was just there to create a diversion or distraction for some of the other players to score points. He's looking more like a bit like a talismanic number 9. So I don't mind Solanke. And actually, the fixtures after the Arsenal game are pretty decent. So he's there as an option if I need it. Start Fabianski or sell was tough one. Yeah, I'd start Fabianski, but I do agree that is quite a tough one. Kulusevski to Ahmad, and then bench Enzo to start Ahmad. Yeah, I quite like that, Emil. I'd be very tempted to do that. There are lots of transfers that I could make this week. Like I could do Enzo to Ahmad and bench Chris Wood. I'd be very happy to have Ahmad. But I want to start getting to a position of strength where I've got multiple free transfers. At the moment, being sat with one free transfer, it feels like you're naked. Like it's like I can't do anything with my team. Like I don't like. It just doesn't feel good. It feels like if I had an injury crisis right now, I'd be a disaster. I want to get to a position ahead of double game week 24 where I'm feeling actually probably 23. I'd ideally like to roll this week and then in game week 22 and then in 23 if I want to bring in a third Liverpool asset for Ipswich at home, I can do so. Hey, Raptor Bud in chat. What was late today? What have I missed? Honestly, not much. Just been answering people's questions. Same old. No major news. The only news we've got in today's stream is that Gabriel Jesus is out with an ACL injury. I think that's the only main thing. Been confirmed by Arsenal now. Isak, Pedro, and Eva Nilsson. Who is the best forward for Eva Nilsson? Probably Raul Jimenez if you're looking at that cheap price, I would say. Munoz or Hall? Just about Lewis Hall, but I think it's very close. Thoughts on Eze, captain? If I knew that he was definitely on penalties, I'd do it, but we think that it's probably Mateta taking the next penalty. We don't know that, by the way. It could be Eze. But if I had confirmation of that, I'd be a lot more tempted to I don't really love captaining non-penalty takers. It's why Salah, Fernandes, Palmer, Isak, Haaland are such good captaincy options all the time, because you know they're on pens as well. I think Isak will play, yeah. We don't know that, but I think he will. Start Wood over Jackson. No, I would start Jackson over Wood. Wissa rotates quite well with Chris Wood. Yeah, I think so. Jesus to Wissa. I like Wissa as a shout. Wissa's a really decent long-term option. Sweet Tooth kicking in. Need chocolate. Galaxy bar or bag of minstrels. What would I prefer right now? I'd probably prefer some minstrels right now. Start Wood or Rogers? Rogers. As a pair, would you take Bruno and Mateta or Ahmad and Isak? Probably Ahmad and Isak. Yeah, you get one less penalty taker, but I prefer Ahmad and Isak. João Pedro or Rogers? I'd go Rogers. Bench Mbermo or Wood? I would bench Chris Wood and start Mbermo. Start Van Dijk or Timber? I think clean sheet's probably more likely for Van Dijk. I'd start Van Dijk. And he's got equally decent attacking threat as Timber. I was going to say more, but he probably doesn't have more. Henderson or Verbruggen? Probably Verbruggen. Mateta or Jimenez? I think considering the saving, I would go Jimenez. Pedro or Wissa? Wissa, just about. Just about Wissa. I think that's quite close, though. Sarr or Wood? Definitely is Ismaila Sarr. Definitely. You got to attack the fixture there, haven't you? Sarr or Ahmad? What, to buy, I assume? It's not to start, because you obviously start both of them. Would I buy Sarr or Ahmad? I honestly think I would still have Ismaila Sarr ahead of Ahmad. I think the fixtures are just better overall. No updates on João Pedro, sadly. The only thing we know on João Pedro is that he's due to train today, and that if he's available, they'll play him, but they won't take any silly risks, basically. My prediction is that João Pedro will be on the bench, but I don't know that. And I don't want João Pedro to start and get a hat-trick and then people be upset. But my prediction as of right now is a benching for João Pedro. Apologies. Cunha or Wood? I'd start Cunha ahead of Wood. Is Luis Diaz starting? I'm going to say yes, but I don't know that, right? I've not got a leak. It's just a prediction. I would say it's probably Gakpo and Luis Diaz. You could argue that this game might suit Jota a little bit more, because Jota's more like a number 9. Neither of them are proper 9s, but you might give Murillo and Milenkovic a little bit more trouble. No, Gordon's not an awful captaincy shout. I don't think he's the best captaincy shout. I wouldn't captain Gordon, but I don't think he's an awful shout. Is Jackson a sell? I don't think so, unless you need to free up the funds. If you need to free up the funds, then go for it. But if it's just for the sake of not having Jackson, then no, I wouldn't sell him. Start Gabriel Hall or Jacob Murphy. I'd start Lewis Hall out of those options. I don't think many captaincy options are stupid. Like, people asking, is Mateta captain stupid? No, not stupid at all. It's not something I'm considering, but that doesn't mean that it's stupid. Where do you find team leaks? It's just like accounts that you trust on Twitter that you've seen before. I can't list all of them because it would take me about 5 hours. And some of them I don't even remember off the top of my head. It's just like when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, they're reliable. Guardiola to Canate. Is Canate nailed? Canate's about as nailed as you can get, yeah. Is Robert Sanchez captain stupid? Yes. I will say yes to that one. -4 to bring in Gordon and Wissa for Jackson and Enzo or roll. I would absolutely roll the transfer there. I don't agree with that set of moves at all. Lupo says wildcard sells Fabianski, Hall, Munoz, Canate, Williams, Hill, Savinio, Gordon, Bruno, Salah, Palmer, Mateta, Wood, Isak. Rate it any changes that seem obvious. Defense looks a little weak. Hall, Munoz, Canate is great. Williams at the moment looks great. I think he continues starting, so maybe not a huge issue there. Hill at the moment looks pretty okay for a cheaper price. I don't know. It just feels a little bit weak, especially when you've only got Sells in goal. Like, you've not got even a premium goalkeeper. It's a great midfield, though. Would I go for Savinio? Probably not. I'd probably just start with them Burmo. Or have like an Ahmad in there. Or maybe like an Eze. There aren't really any massive changes I would make there, no. But yeah, I would probably make a couple myself. But that's just personal preference, isn't it? Willabit Sohn says, hey Ross, long time no super chat. Been lurking. Good to see you here as always. Thank you. With what you just said about João Pedro, would you bench Diaz or João Pedro? Big love to you and Pickle. Thank you, firstly. I think the big issue is both the minutes risks. I think I prefer João Pedro out of the two, so I'd probably start João Pedro. Unless, if we get confirmation before the deadline that Luis Diaz starts, I'd probably just start Luis Diaz, because at least you know. Isak, João Pedro, and Evan Ilson. Who is the best switch for Evan Ilson? Raul Jimenez, I would say, at that price. If you can go a little bit more expensive, Chris Wood, Mateta, Solanke, great, but for most people, it's probably Raul Jimenez. I equally don't think you need to sell João Pedro this week, personally. Are you torn on captaincy? Most I've seen are on Palmer. I think Salah is a differential captain in the top 10k, 100k. Yeah, everyone's captaining Palmer this week. Out of like, when I say everyone, Salah will be more highly captained, but I mean amongst like engaged managers, content creators, the top 1,000 elite managers, like a lot of them are captaining Palmer. It makes me think, have I missed something? But then I see an opportunity to captain Salah. In my mini leagues, most people seem to be going Palmer. So yeah, I think Salah's a really decent captaincy shout. Get your words out, Ross. Hi, Ross. Should I start Robinson and Rao or Ismail Assar and Gabriel? Keep up the good work. Thank you. I would go Ismail Assar and Gabriel, probably. I don't love benching Raul Jimenez, though. Surely you can play Raul Jimenez somehow. Surely Raul Jimenez isn't your 8th best attacker this week. But yeah, I would say Ismail Assar and Gabriel is a better combo. Darwin is suspended. You are correct. I don't remember saying he wasn't. Did I? If I did, my bad. I've changed captaincy about 10 times today. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Oh, I don't know. I've also got this nagging feeling that I should be starting Enzo Fernandez, but he's not really shown too much recently, has he? He's shown a little bit of creativity, but Robinson or Colwill? I'd start Robinson ahead of Colwill. He's just got more attacking threat. Start Robinson or Hall? I would definitely start Hall. What's your thought on Moyes? Yeah, good appointment. I think he'll do well for them. They've gone for a manager that can play slightly more attractive football than Deitch, but they've also not gone for a manager that I think will put them at a massive risk of getting relegated. And imagine Moyes keeps them up. Start Wood or Diaz? Probably Chris Wood. Good evening, Ross. I've got two problems and B star ain't one? What's B star? Don't know. One, why should I captain Haaland over Salah and Palmer? I don't think you necessarily should. I just think in a week where captaincy is split and you've got a differential Haaland, I just think it offers a nice opportunity. And bench one of Ahmad, Rogers, Enzo, and Y. Thank you. Ahmad you can't bench because he's playing Southampton at home. Rogers is just a better asset than Enzo, I would probably say. So I reckon you bench Enzo. So yeah, I would captain Haaland and I'd bench Enzo. That is what I would do if it was my team. But it's not my team, so you choose. I do think Robinson versus Gabriel was a bit of a discussion, by the way. I know a lot of people are asking that themselves in the comments. I just think Gabriel's got more goal threat than Robinson. Robinson's got more assist threat. Gabriel's playing in the better defence, and I think clean sheet chance is probably slightly better for Robinson, but I don't know that it's that much higher. I just think premium defenders are always a risk to bench. Especially someone like Gabriel. Like he just scored recently against United as well. There are lots of people asking questions that my team would help answer. So like lots of people saying Gabriel Robinson. I obviously think Gabriel. Lots of people saying Enzo or Wood. I obviously think Wood right now. So before asking your question, look at my team and think about what I've done, and that might help you out, a few of you. And yes, I think Captain Bruno is an absolutely fine option. I hope my audio is okay. I just clicked off the wrong thing and accidentally changed all the settings on my microphone. Hopefully that's okay. Martinelli to Gordon for free. Yeah, I'd probably do it. Captain Mbermo. Listen, as much as City aren't quite at it, I wouldn't be captaining Mbermo in a million years this week. No chance. What to make of Cunha? What do you want to know? He's fine to start this week. He's fine to bench if you want to. The fixtures aren't really there, which is why I was happy to sell Cunha when I did. But I also think I'd be happy to have him as well right now. Will Cameron, thank you for being a Rap Tier 1 member. I do appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. Captain Solanke? No. Don't like that. Start João Pedro or Wood? I think that is probably the most common question I'm getting right now. Start João Pedro or Wood? If you think João Pedro starts the game, I would start João Pedro. But because I think there is a chance that he doesn't, and I think the chance is big enough to put me off, I would probably start Wood ahead of João Pedro. But I can understand why you would start João Pedro, because again, if João Pedro does start, he's just a better option than Chris Wood. This week, by the way. Not in future weeks, but this week, I'd rather have João Pedro than Chris Wood. Trent out. Why would you want Trent out? Is Isak for a -4 worthwhile? Maybe not with the doubts around his minutes. It depends who you're taking out. Depends on the rest of your team, but probably not the week to take a -4 for Isak. Hi, Ross. One free transfer. Debating between Timber to Hall or Jackson to Wood. Any thoughts? I think Timber to Hall is a much better transfer than Jackson to Wood for me, Mark. I don't think Jackson to Wood's even a good transfer this week. I would say Timber to Hall is where I would go. Is Semenyo playing as the number 9 with the Bournemouth injuries? I would say Dango Altara or Cliver are both more likely to play as the 9. Semenyo's not really played very well as the 9 for Bournemouth. Do we have any news on the starting lineups for tonight's games? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Tim Partridge has become a Raptor 2 member. Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate it. Welcome. Soboslai starts. I like that a lot for Salah. I think Soboslai's a baller. Wissa or Rogers? This week, probably Wissa. Probably Wissa. Timber or Robertson? Probably Robertson. Fabianski or Sells? I would still, I think, just about go Fabianski because I just back the Liverpool attack. But Sells is obviously playing with a much better defence. Is Chris Wood on penalties? We think so. He's taken at least 1 this season, if not 2. But he definitely took 1 when Gibbs White was on the pitch as well. Whether that will continue, you'd imagine so, but you can't 100% confirm. Would you captain Palmer or Haaland? I'd probably captain Haaland if I owned him. It's easy for me to say that, though, when I don't own him. Right? It's easy for me to sit here and say, I think you should captain Haaland, but if I actually had him, it's a different discussion, of course. Would you start Enzo or João Pedro? I think I would start Enzo Fernandez. I think I would. Because there's just not as much doubt around his minutes. No early team news yet, but we've still got 25 minutes till the deadline. There is absolutely a possibility that we do get some. What to do with Watkins? I think there are loads of good, cheaper forwards to own, so I would probably move him on. This was always the issue when you went out and bought Watkins, is that as soon as Duran's back, you're then doubting if he's going to start. So yeah, I would probably just cut your losses. He's been an okay asset to own recently, but I'd probably sell him. Is Jota a keeper or a sell? I think if you've held Jota all this time, Slot recently said that Jota is now able to play 90 minutes. So I don't think this is the time to sell Jota. The time to sell Jota was a couple of weeks ago when it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to be getting into that starting 11. So I think, yeah, if you've still got him now, I'd probably keep. Iwobi or Rodgers to start? I'd start Rodgers ahead of Iwobi. Is a free transfer of Sarr to Ahmad worth it? Not even close to being worth it, no. I wouldn't ever do that. Start Hall or Iwobi? I would start Hall and bench Iwobi. Why keep Wissa? Because he's great. In fact, I think Wissa will be the most popular forward to buy from GameWeek 23 and beyond. I would absolutely keep Wissa. Bruno or Salah cap? I mean, I'm probably going for Salah, I think. But Bruno's definitely got the fixture. Depends on what's more important to you. Iwobi or Wood? Probably Wood. Kirkez or Robinson? I'd say Anthony Robinson, probably for me. Abdullah says, "Hi Ross, what would you do with this team?" Okay, sorry. Verbruggen and Robinson, Hall, Gabriel, Colwill, Salah, Palmer, Fernandez, Gordon, Rogers, Isaac, Cunha, João Pedro. 5 free transfers, 2.7 million in the bank. What a team that is with 5 free transfers. I mean, midfield is impeccable. Salah, Palmer, Fernandez, Gordon, Rogers, don't touch it. Defense is pretty good. Verbruggen, Robinson, Hall, Gabriel, Colwill, don't touch it. I think your forward line could be better. I'd be tempted this week to maybe sell Cunha and buy Mateta, Solanke, or Jackson. And then moving forward, if you want to sell João Pedro, you've got the option to do so. So I would use my 1 free transfer to do Cunha to Mateta if it was my team. But I'm a Mateta fanboy. Other people might not like it as much. Play Munoz or Enzo? I'd still play Munoz, I think, ahead of Enzo. He's an attacking man. Double Nottingham Forest defence or 1 plus Robinson? I'd go 1 plus Robinson. Munoz over Hall for Timber replacement. I would say just about Hall, actually, but I think it's very close. Whoever you've got a personal preference for. If Isak wasn't a slight risk, would you captain him? Probably, yeah. Probably. What's a high team value at this stage of the season? I don't know. What's my team value? My team value is 105. I'd imagine like 106.5 is probably like really high. I'm just guessing at this stage. But yeah, if you've got over 106.5 team value, that's probably a fairly high number at this point of the season. Sorry for sending full team. No worries, mate. Should I bench boost? Raya, Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Palmer, Salah, Luis Diaz, Ahmad, Wissa, Isak, Rao. Benches Fabianski, Gvardiol, Robinson, Rogers. It's such a borderline one, Will. I don't think I would bench boost that, no. I don't think I'd bench boost that, but it's borderline. It really is. I just think Fabianski's not great. Gvardiol, I think, probably concedes. I don't think Fulham keep a clean sheet. So you're relying on an attacking return from Gvardiol or Robinson or Rogers going absolutely massive. So I probably wouldn't do it, no. But I do think it's close. We've got 20 minutes until the deadline, by the way. 20 minutes. Start Cunha or Enzo or sell one. I would start Cunha ahead of Enzo, but I think I'd be happy selling either of them. If you've got the free transfer and the money to do so, and you like a replacement, I'd be happy enough selling either of those. If you've only got the 1 free transfer, though, I would be tempted to just roll and just start Cunha. Mr. Martin says, I really want to get on Munoz this game week because I think he's close to a haul, but that will get me into a huge bench dilemma, choosing between Trent, Gabriel, Rogers and Watkins for the bench. Yeah, I mean, if you're in that position, you just probably have to avoid him, sadly. Although, you could bench any of those, I suppose, instead of him. I'd probably just avoid, though. Realistically, Palace probably concede, and so even if he scores, it's going to be less than 10 points. It's not unless he gets a clean sheet on top of an attacking return, it's not going to be anything that's too damaging to your rank. Bench 1 of Cunha, Solanke or Semenyo. Also, bench 1 defender, Colwell, Robinson, Gabriel. I would bench Semenyo, and I would bench Colwell. I know they're playing against each other, but I just think Semenyo's got the lowest ceiling because he's not on pens, and Colwell has the lowest ceiling because he doesn't have the attacking threat. So I would say in isolation, Semenyo and Colwell are probably the 2 to bench. And then you just hope that that game's like 1-1 with nothing from Semenyo or Colwell. Why is Munoz so appealing? He's just extremely, extremely attacking. Like, really, really attacking. And the fixtures are brilliant for Crystal Palace. Right up until Game Week 30. Now, they might not play in blank Game Week 29, but that is a lovely run of fixtures. If we look at his underlying data, 0.26 XGI per 90. And a lot of that's goal threat. Like, he's had some big weeks. 0.19, 0.60, 0.24. 0.9 here as well. It does feel like it's coming for Munoz. That big score. And I hope it's this week. Hi, Ross. Been listening on my drive home from work. Big love, Ben. Quick question from me this week. Which 2 would you start? 1, Mikalenko or Castagna. 2, Wood or Rogers. I would start Castagna ahead of Mikalenko, and I would start Rogers ahead of Wood. So I would bench Mikalenko and Wood, personally. But both of those are pretty close, so just trust yourself, I think, more than anything. I think Salah captain is a risk. I don't think risk is the right word, but I agree that it's not a perfect fixture for him. Callum says, Fabianski, João Pedro, Robinson and Gabriel, would you bench boost? No, because João Pedro's a doubt. So immediately that makes it a no for me. I don't like bench boosting if any of my 15 players are a doubt. Sarr to Bruno, Watkins to Mateta, Sells or Pickford. I wouldn't do Sarr to Bruno, Watkins to Mateta because I think Sarr is fantastic. So no. Sells or Pickford. Probably Pickford just about. Start 3 of Luca Dean, Timber, Chalobah, Robinson and Nico Williams. I think you start Robinson. You start Chalobah. Then probably Timber. Timber, Chalobah and Robinson I would probably start. Bench Dean and Nico Williams. For my draft league, loser has to do a charity boxing match, currently 25 points adrift. Yeah, I think Chalobah, Robinson and Luca Dean and Timber, sorry. Get Munoz with 2 free transfers and play over Gabriel. Just about no, because I think Gabriel's a great shout this week still, because he scored against Spurs earlier in the season, didn't he? But I do think Munoz is also really nice. So I've not really answered your question. Play one of Jimenez or Rodgers. I'd say Jimenez ahead of Rodgers, just because of the pens. Do I start Iwobi or Wood and captain Ahmad? I would start Wood ahead of Iwobi, and I don't love captain on Ahmad, sorry. I don't want to put people off of decisions that they want to make, but yeah. Bruno captain. Bruno captain's fine, like really nice option, honestly. No issues for me with Bruno captain. Captain Salah or Solanke? Salah. Enzo to Ahmad or roll? I'd probably just roll. Unless you really want a piece of the Manchester United attack and you don't have Bruno. Yes, we have got 15 minutes until the deadline. Thank you very much, Shazam. 15-minute countdown. Make sure you are starting to think about your team. Make sure you got your bench order sorted. Make sure you got your vice captaincy sorted. Make sure that there is nothing left to chance. Who are we kidding? It's all down to chance, isn't it? Play Raul Jimenez or Jackson. Jackson. I think Jackson's a class option. I don't understand the clamour to get rid of him. Well, I do. That's a lie. One return in 7 games isn't ideal. But those points, like in FPL, the best thing that you can do to try and improve your management is realise that past points have no real indicator of future points. Whether Jackson, apart from like a bit of form and confidence, but if Jackson had scored 5 in the last 7 or scored 1 in the last 7, doesn't massively impact how well I think Jackson will do over the next 6. Unless, again, you're there to tell me that he's at an all-time low in confidence and that Chelsea aren't playing well. But that can very easily be turned around. 1 game is all it takes. And then all of a sudden, Jackson's back on the score sheet. Like we've seen that with Haaland recently. A couple of games in a row now getting some returns. He could be back. I think Jackson's great, personally. Start Hall and Munoz. I wouldn't bench either of them in a million years, but I would start Hall if you have to. For some reason, if you have to, I would start Hall. Who to bench? Enzo, Pedro, or Wood? I would bench João Pedro, but most people would probably suggest benching Enzo. Tim. Do we have any team news? I don't think so, actually. Let me double check. I shall check. See if I've got any DMs or anything interesting going on. No, I don't think so. I can't see any early team news, no. Interesting. Let me just search for some of the accounts that I know. So I'm just searching for some of the Liverpool accounts that might be posting stuff. I think that's the main team that a lot of people want info from. I've not got a massive amount right now. Yeah, Soboslai apparently starts. A couple of people have leaked, but that's it for now. I've not seen much else outside of that. And that doesn't really help us much from an FPL perspective, I don't think. Start Fabianski for the Harry Potter revolution. Maybe. Maybe you do. Play... I did that one, didn't I? Cool. Just over 10 minutes until the deadline. Just over 10 minutes until the deadline. Start Ahmad instead of Wood. Yeah, absolutely start Ahmad over Wood. Trent benched for Bradley would be fun. I wouldn't even care too much as long as we get info in the next 10 minutes. Because if he's benched and I don't know that, then that's sad. But otherwise, I'd just start Robinson. If Trent was benched, I'd start Robinson. But we're not going to find that out. So I don't think anyway. Luis Diaz will definitely start. I'd imagine so as well. I don't think it's definite, but I think it's quite likely. I think Gakpo and Diaz is almost definitely... This is a big game for them. I think Gakpo and Diaz are probably going to start. They're the trusted pair, aren't they? Start Rodgers or Gabriel. I'd start Rodgers ahead of Gabriel. Nice hoodie. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's from Urban Outfitters. Are you sticking with Salah captain, Ross? I think so. I don't love it, I'll be honest, but I don't love any of the captaincy options enough to, outside of Salah, to make me want to go against him. Is Raul Jimenez nailed? Depends what your definition of nailed is. Will he start 8 of the next 10? Yes. Will he start 9 or 10 of the next 10? I'm less sure about that. But I think you get more starts than not, and I think he'll get minutes off the bench when he doesn't start. So I think Raul Jimenez is a fine player to buy. Would you consider it crazy to captain Ahmad? I'm top 6k in the world. It's not a crazy thing to do, but he's not on penalties. He's not on many set pieces. And there is a small chance he plays right wing back. So I just think there's enough for me. And it's Manchester United at the end of the day. As much as Southampton have looked very poor, Man United are very hit and miss. And we still haven't won a game in a long time. Wait, let me clarify. We haven't won a game in a long time in 90 minutes. Dennis says, yo, just got home from work. My 11 is Verbruggen, Trent, Munoz, Gabriel, Bruno Palmer, Salah Murphy, Rodgers, Isaac, João Pedro. My bench is 8 Nuri, Aina, Wood. What do I do this round? Any transfers, any lineup changes? Team looks good to me, mate. I think the only change, you don't need to make any transfers. Your team looks great. The only change is possibly do you start Wood instead of João Pedro, considering that João Pedro's minutes are a slight risk. I think that's the only thing that I would change about your lineup. And also make sure that Chris Wood is first sub. I don't know if you did it in the correct order, but if you're not going to start Chris Wood, at least put him first sub. Start Watkins or Wood. I'm trying to roll for a change. It might be worth taking a risk on Ollie Watkins, but I just think, considering I don't know if he's going to start, a couple of people predicting Duran to start, maybe it's Chris Wood. Bench 2 of Robinson, Rodgers, Hall, Sarr, Gabriel. I think you bench Gabriel and Robinson and start Rodgers, Hall and Sarr, I think. I'm tempted to captain Bruno over Salah. I don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. You have got 7 minutes until the deadline. 7 minutes. If you have been not paying attention and just sat there waiting, now is your time to probably make those moves. It doesn't look like we're going to get a massive amount of early team news. If we do get early team news in the next 7 minutes, I will let you know, of course. I've put Diaz on the bench instead of Ahmad. Well, yeah, if it's between Diaz and Ahmad, you start Ahmad. He's got the much better fixture. Bruno Hall incoming. I hope you're correct. I have no issues with Bruno Halling. It probably means Man United are doing well as well. And I'll be very happy to get the Bruno points. I just don't feel the need to captain him right now for me. I'm just looking if I can get any early team news on Liverpool. But doesn't look like we will be, to be honest. Let me see if I can do some digging. I just would like to get confirmation that Trent starts, to be honest. Yeah, Soboslai is starting. I've seen that guy tweet before. He's accurate. So apparently Soboslai is starting, but that doesn't really help anyone. right now, unless you're planning on buying Soboslai, which I absolutely would not because he's a bit of a rotation risk. Anyone else captaining Isak and freaking out? I don't mind it. You'd expect him to start and get 60 minutes at least. Martinelli and Jackson to Bruno and Mateta -4. No, I wouldn't do that, Harry. Watkins and Greaves to Mateta and Munoz -4. I actually don't mind that as far as -4s go. I don't mind that. Are we going to get news? Probably not. Reckon Cunha starts? Yeah, surely he does. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Just over 5 minutes until the deadline. Just over 5 minutes until the deadline. Lewis or Castagna to start? Probably Castagna. Why Salah over Palmer? I just think Salah's more consistent. And everyone else and their mother and their dog and their nan seems to be captaining Palmer. So it feels like an okay opportunity to go against Palmer. Palmer started off as like a differential and then it became a bandwagon. Isn't the deadline 6 p.m. UK time? Yeah, which is in 5 minutes. That is in 5 minutes time. Dibbling to Ahmad and bench Wood. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. It's just a massive upgrade as well having Ahmad over Dibbling, isn't it? Someone tell me if Trent starts. Someone give me some information. Salah seems to be a differential captain this week. I don't know, like in the overall database, he won't be, but amongst engaged managers, for those of you that are watching right now, etc., I just think that Salah won't be as highly captained as usual, which means that we gain more from him, right? It does mean that Palmer's going to do some damage, though, if he goes big, which is scary. Start Watkins or Wood. I'm trying to roll for a change. I think I answered that already, my friend, but I would probably start Chris Wood because I think Watkins is a doubt. Oh my God, I made it. You did very well, Pickle. You've got 4 minutes. There is absolutely no news for anything that would affect your team, though, so you can just carry on as it was. You've got just over 3 minutes until the deadline. I'm trying to frantically see if I can get any early team news for Liverpool, but I don't think I can. Foden or Bruno? I mean, if it's just a straight shootout, I would say Bruno, but it's not, right? There's other stuff taken into account. I don't know if you own Foden or Bruno already, but I think Bruno's a better option than Foden for me. Diaz to Eze for a -4. I wouldn't take a -4 for that, no. Start 3 of Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Munoz. I'd probably bench Gabriel from those 4 options, believe it or not. What to do with Maddison? He's probably a sell, right? He's probably a sell. Watkins is a doubt to start. Well, Duran's back. FPL Villain has got Duran as who he thinks is most likely to start. I love that people are always like, Soboslai starts. I mean this in the most lovely way possible. Do we really care? That's not overly helpful for FPL. No one owns Soboslai. But yes, Soboslai does start. That is the only information we've got. Who is the best Jesus replacement? I think at the more expensive price, Solanke or Mateta, then Chris Wood, then Raul Jimenez. Or Wissa. Probably those 5. It's just take your pick. It really is completely up to you at that stage. None of them are like massively stand out. Chris Wood for consistency, Mateta for the fixtures, Raul Jimenez for a bit of both and also penalties, of course. Havertz in for Jesus. I wouldn't want to own Kai Havertz. He was absolutely miserable against Manchester United. He missed like 1.9 XG if you take into account the penalty. Obviously, without the pen, it was still over 1.2 XG missed. No, 1.1 XG, I think it was, sorry. Bench Jackson or Rodgers? I would honestly start Jackson ahead of Rodgers. I'd probably bench Rodgers and start Jackson. Jackson's a really decent shout this week, honestly. Wissa or Rao? I'd probably go Rao Jimenez for the next few. If you're asking who to start this week, I still think my answer is probably Rao. 1 minute till the deadline. 1 minute till the deadline. Focal says Trent starts. What did he tweet it? That's good news. I hope he starts. We'll have to wait and see. That would be a nice little boost, wouldn't it? Although I've got Chris Wood, so hopefully Chris Wood scores. I've lost my chat. Where's my chat? Hello. We're back. Duran, should I start him? Maybe, but I think it still could be Watkins, so it's back and forth. Well, I really don't know who's going to start out of Watkins and Duran. I think you probably just avoid both for now. Keep Timber or move? It depends on your team, but I'd probably move. That is it. Dunzo. The deadline is here. 6 p.m. This is the team we'll be rocking, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Salah outscores Palmer. Oh, God. I'm very scared about captaincy. I just feel like Isak, Palmer, Salah, whoever you've not captained, it's just scary. I think that Salah, Palmer, and Isak will all be over 100% EO. So whoever you've not captained out of Salah, Palmer, Isak, you basically want them to blank. Which isn't great, is it? It's not what we want. Like, we don't want that. Just tweeting my team. You're scared. Are you joking, mate? Yeah, but you're just goated. You could do whatever you want. You could, like, jokingly captain Raya and you'd somehow outscore me. Pickle. Do you know what scares me about Cole Palmer is that he can do what he did against Brighton. Like, Palmer has a 25-pointer in him. That worries me, but hey-ho. I don't know why I'm also worried about Enzo Fernandez. Question, what was the thing that caused you to fall in love with Pickle? I think Pickle, from the moment I spoke to Pickle for the first time, she was my best friend in the world. We got on very, very well. So that was what caused me to fall in love with Pickle, is that she very quickly became my best friend, you know? And they say that you should marry your best friend, don't they? So how about that? Also, she's got a lovely pair of eyes. She's got a lovely pair of eyes. Right, I need to put on Blue Sky as well. There we go. Done. I'm so tired. I had 4 hours of sleep. I've been testing all day for my PhD. I had back-to-back testing. I got home at 3 p.m., quickly munched some food, and then I started streaming. All on 4 hours sleep. Do I look tired? Probably. Where's my post gone? Excuse me. Where'd my post go? Excuse me. What? Blue Sky, you terrible at... Oh, there it is. Hello. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really fully on board with Blue Sky. But... How carb-loaded was that food? It was a cheeky KFC. It wasn't like a full-blown KFC, though. I had a couple of like the mini wraps, and I had like 2 fillets. It was like a half KFC. It was a KF. Take a nap, Ross. Okay. Chat, I'm going to go to sleep. You entertain yourselves. And I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit here and go to sleep. Okay? This is what streamers do, isn't it? They sleep on their streams. Oh my god, I actually think I'd nod off. Imagine if I actually fell asleep and started snoring. That'd be really awkward. Oh, I'll tell you what. I shouldn't have put my hood up. As soon as that hood went up, I felt very tired. Telling a load of people to entertain themselves whilst watching you sleep. What kind of perverse channel has this turned into? What do you mean does it turn into? It's always been that way. No, not you're so sus, chat, honestly. Are you thinking of joining the cartel? Nah. We hate the cartel. How will we know the difference when you're awake or asleep? This is true. Oh my god, that hood up. No, I need to take my hood down. That is getting way too that's getting way too cozy in there. Just put the egg picture up and you're sorted. There you go, chat. I'm not asleep. I'm not asleep. What do you mean? I'm fully awake. Show us the egg, please, Ross. Egg. Are you watching the games tonight? Probably. I don't really want to because I'm very nervous, but I probably will, yeah. Pickle got with a gangster. Pickle's disappeared. To be fair, Pickle has had a very long day at placement, bless her. How's the PhD going, Ross? When is it due to finish? I've probably got about another 12 to 14 months left of the PhD. It's dragging on a lot. I've been testing all day for my PhD. It's going a little bit better. We're starting to pick up momentum. I actually need participants for my study. Is anyone in the live stream chat, one, playing competitive football, and two, able to travel to Nottingham? If anyone is, gonna have to shower, so adios. No, it's fine, Pickle. I didn't want you to be here for the stream anyway. It's fine. It's not like you could shower after the stream or anything. It's fine. Is anyone able to travel to Nottingham and playing competitive football? If you are, to those two things, hit me up. Because you could be a participant for my study. No and no. No. Okay. It's good. 1, no, 2, no. Okay, cool. Cool. Depends on your definition of competitive. Basically, do you play in a league? Not just like playing with your friends. Do you play for in a league of some kind? Ross is so petty. Yes, I'm the definition of petty. I can travel to Nottingham, but competitive football would be a stretch with friends. Probably not them. Do you know what? I'll put my email address in here. This is my work email. If you are able to travel to Nottingham and you play competitive football, again, by competitive, all I need from you is just that you play in a league of some kind. Then hit me up. Brad says, yes, but I can't participate twice. I wish you could participate twice, mate. You absolutely smashed it. Thank you very much. Brad was one of my participants today in the chat. Big up to Brad. Did very well. Are you including women's football? Sadly not, but not because we discriminate. Because the models that we had to do the tasks are male, and therefore it gets a bit messy in terms of decision-making for women playing women's football, and you've got a man doing the modelling. So no, basically. Share your email. That won't go wrong. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. It's only my work email. Anything that's spam or hate, it will just chuck in the bin. Ask Henry Smith in your psychology class. He's my neighbour, just started at Notts Uni. Fantastic. Henry Smith, hit me up. Do you teach at Uni of Nottingham? Nottingham Trent, not Uni of Nottingham. What is the age limit? There's no age limit, but you have to be over 18. Does 6 versus 6 count? Asking for my boyfriend. Yes, Holly. 6-a-side is absolutely fine. Tell your boyfriend to hit me up. Tell your boyfriend to hit me up. PhD momentum really ebbs and flows, doesn't it? Presented at NTU the other week, although it's music, so would have missed you. Yeah, it goes through like really dry spells and then loads of stuff will happen. You mentioned playing with Ola Aina in one of your earlier streams. Did I mishear or what's the story? Yeah, so Ola Aina and I both were at Spurs. And then Spurs decided not to sign Ola Aina for whatever reason. And then he trialed for Chelsea and joined Chelsea. And then when I was playing at Spurs, we played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And bear in mind, like we were, I think, like 14 years old at the time. So when you're 14, you do occasionally play in stadiums. Like I played at Goodison, I played at Old Trafford, I played at White Hart Lane at the time. But you don't usually play in stadiums. So we had like this big event where Spurs were playing against Chelsea. So I played at left back in that game. I'm a left winger normally, but our left back was injured. So I played at left back and Ola Aina was the right winger for Chelsea. And he absolutely terrorised me. It was like watching like Salah against left backs in the Prem. So yeah, I'm not a left back, by the way. And at the time, Ola Aina was like 6 foot and built like a shed at the time. Like we were children and Ola Aina had the muscle of a man. But yeah, I got terrorized. I got cooked. How much are you paying? I play semi-pro. I'm not paying anything, Paul. It's literally just if you want to help out my research. Sadly, I don't have the funding to pay participants as much as I would love to. Yeah. What age did you play academy until? I played for Spurs till under 15s. So it was like under 7s to under 15s. It was about eight seasons I was at Spurs. Who were your coaches? I used to play Spurs academy as well. Danny Buck, Dan Mashish. Danny Buck we had for like 3 seasons. Steve Palmer we had for 1 or 2 seasons. Do you remember any of those people? Coaches came and go quite quickly though, don't they? So it might not have been the same coaches. Wait, I didn't know you balled like that, Ross. I did ball. I don't ball now, to be fair, but I did ball. What sort of test are you doing as part of your study? We're looking at the role of virtual reality in elite football. So basically, you'll come in, use our VR system, and I'll just collect some data. So yeah. So in a parallel universe, we're picking you on our FPL teams. Exactly. But yeah, sorry. So for anyone that did want to sign up, again, I'll put my email here. If you live in Nottingham or you can travel to Nottingham and you play competitive football, please let me know. It's basically looking at the role of virtual reality in elite sport. If you send me an email, I can send you more details, then you can decide either way. Valedictorian at undergrad and postgrad, Ross. Very nice. Are you looking at my LinkedIn? I was valedictorian at undergrad and postgrad. If you don't know what valedictorian means, it means you got the highest grade in your entire cohort. Bachelor's, valedictorian. Master's, valedictorian. Top of the class for both. Look at me. Look at me being a perfect student. Because I'm a nerd, that's why. It's because I'm a nerd. Was there any famous ballers that made it in football during your academy days, mate? Yeah, one of my good friends was Carl Walker-Peters, which people joke about. Say, who's your best friend, Carl Walker-Peters? But I used to stay in the same room as Carl Walker-Peters when we go on tour. Because he was at Spurs at the time. Actually, Carl Walker-Peters, when I was at Spurs, was a right winger. He was like a really tricky right winger. Didn't know how to defend to save his life. In fact, probably the worst work ethic and work rate of any winger you've ever seen. But yeah, he obviously then turned into a right back and then obviously left Spurs. I think Carl Walker-Peters is probably doing the best of any. Actually, Ainsley Maitland-Niles I played with at Arsenal. Because I played for Arsenal for about 18 months before I joined Spurs. Played with Ainsley at Arsenal. Harry Winks was the year above me. But because he was quite young for his age group, I often toured with Harry Winks at Spurs. Ola Aina, obviously, as we just spoke about. I'm trying to think who else. Honestly, not that many players make it. Like, far fewer than you would actually imagine. Oh, friends, football friends. Do you think he'd recognise you if you met him now? No. I didn't have a beard. I had loads of hair, believe it or not. And we were only like 14, 15 when I left Spurs, so. What type of medicine is Pickle studying? She's studying to be a physician associate. So it's physician associate studies she's studying. Do you know that Tamworth player who is a sports lecturer at Trent? I do, yeah. I do, Tom. I speak to Tom quite regularly. Ross, can you teach me about Joe's 3C+1 model in any papers I can cite? This is not a sports psychology discussion. To be fair, I haven't studied that model since my master's degree, so that would have been 4 years ago. Can you find a picture of you with hair? Chat will want to see. I show a picture of me with hair all the time. I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot of it. There really wasn't a lot of it. Let's find me with hair. That was me when I had a little bit of hair. Hairline was already receding. You've got a little bit of fluff on the top. That was when it was getting quite bad. But that's me. When was that? That was 2017. So that was 7 years ago. So I was 20 in that. There's me and Nana Raptor back in the day. I was 17 in this one. Me and Nana Raptor, look at us. Look at us go. I'll tell you what, neither of us look like that right now. There's interesting research into the successful sports players and birthdays. In the US, their years started in Jan, and the success of those born early in the year was greater due to physical development. That is called the relative age effect, Frosty. It's very well known in psychology. No, I don't think it affected me personally, but you never know. My mind is blown. Been following this channel for years. I'm only finding out you balled out at Spurs and Arsenal with... The thing is, right, it might not seem this way, but I really don't like coming across as braggy or boasty. And there's no good way to bring up that you played professional football without sounding like you're bragging and boasting. Bragging and boasting. Boasting and bragging. What am I saying? Oh, the lineups are out, aren't they? What games are on at 7:30? Chelsea, Bournemouth. I'm trying to think what games are on. Chelsea, I know are playing. Let's check the Chelsea lineup. Sanchez starts. Cole starts. Lavia starts. That is not... Oh, this isn't what I wanted to see as someone that benched bloody Enzo. Oh, that is not nice. Oh, so Caicedo's starting at right back inverting. Enzo's going to be so advanced in this game. Oh, I regret my life choices already. That is not what I wanted to see. Bournemouth. I reckon it's Altaro Danga as the number 9 again. Cliver on the bench. Wow. Cliver on the bench. That's interesting. What other teams are playing? Do you know what? Official FPL off and just retweet them. Should I just go on there? West Ham. Fabianski is in goal. That's good moving forward. So Fabianski starts. Raul Jimenez does start with Moniz on the bench. Castagna starts. Robinson starts. Interestingly, Fulham are back to a back 4. So that is a back 4, not a back 5. For Brentford, Wisser and Mbermo do start. Vandenberg starts as well, as does Flecken. Nothing that surprising there. City. Oh, wow. Rico Lewis on the bench. Rico Lewis on the bench. Guardiola does start. Foden starts. De Bruyne starts. Haaland starts. What are we thinking about some of that news? That is not what I wanted to see as someone that's benched Enzo. That's upset me. I think it's called the relative age effect, Frosty. I'm just wondering now if I... Relative age effect. Yeah, Google it, Frosty. There's loads of research into relative age effect. Just seen Raw Holloway on LinkedIn. Got an unconditional offer to do media production, but my ex-partner stopped things and I never went. We could have been roomies. I loved Raw Holloway. What a wonderful university that was. Whoa. Computer's dying. Computer is dying. Come on, computer. You can do it. Computer, please. Focus. Don't do this to me. My camera's been so well behaved today. It's been fantastic. Good luck to everyone this week. Good luck to you, Nanoraptor. Thank you for watching as always. Clive at Saar next week. I'm the only one with him. Yeah, probably. Probably a move I'd make. Did you stop playing football due to injury? It was a combination of really bad injuries, but also I just wasn't enjoying it anymore, which was probably largely down to the fact that I was quite injury prone. But yeah, I just lack of enjoyment, constant injuries. Just decided to pack it in. Just decided to pack it all in. Tell you what, I need my dinner soon. Who's the next guest on FPL Therapy? I should know this. I should know this. I know my next 3, but I can't remember the order. It's not there, is it? My next guest on FPL Therapy. Okay, it's not the order I thought it was. So next is Luke, who's a Crystal Palace fan, does some stuff around Crystal Palace. I've then got Mr. FPL Schofield, Brad Curry, who is a insane cricketer for Scotland, I believe. So that'll be fun to get Brad on. Then I've probably got a solo podcast. I'm also getting Clayton on from Planet FPL. Got a few guests lined up. I need to sort out a few more as well. Ross, when is James from Planet FPL appearing on the podcast? So the issue we've got is that I record on Mondays, and so trying to get James on the podcast is really difficult because he records most of his content on a Monday. So we've had this difficulty where it's just tough to get him on, basically. So we'll work it out, but yeah. You should mix it up with 2 guests sometimes. It was fun with Harry and, I want to say FPL mate, Harry and Oscar, yeah. When it works, it works. But I don't think having 2 guests on, unless the 2 guests have a reason to be on together, it gets messy. I already find it difficult to get under 2 hours with 1 guest. I think you had a second guest in, and I just think it doesn't work as well. Unless it was someone like Sam and Lee from FPL Family or something like that. You should invite one of your fans. We've discussed this. I'd love to, but there needs to be some sort of vetting procedure for me to make sure that they are able to communicate effectively. And as much as that's a horrible thing to say, at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is creating good content. And so if I invite a guest on because they've got a good rank or because they win a competition or something, and they get there and they have no idea how to communicate on a podcast and they're mumbling and they're stuttering, it won't make for a particularly good podcast. So that's the issue, is that you almost need, like, if I want to get guests on that are just sort of fans of the channel, I'd need to have like a way for them to upload sample clips to like a Google Drive or something. Any idea of you and Andy coming together? I've offered Andy a couple of times, but he lives in Ireland and he's basically said he's not going to make the trip down, which is fair enough. I don't expect him to, but there's been no sign from him that he wants to make that trip, so I doubt it. I'll do Discord interviews for you. That's the last thing you need, Frosty, is any more work. That'd be funny though, wouldn't it? Yeah, Frosty narrows it down, and then I take it from there. Invite Pickle on for an FPL couple edition. FPL Pickle has been invited on every single week. She's just very shy. That's the only thing. Can you try to get Meghan Markle on? Does Meghan Markle play FPL? If so, fantastic, of course. Captain Gordon, thoughts? Don't mind it. Do not mind it. How long are you streaming for? Another 5 minutes at least until the Liverpool lineups, and then I might head off after that. It's been a long day. I need to sleep. I might sleep during the games tonight and then wake up and see who scored. See how much Palmer has outscored Salah by. Could you go mobile with the podcast and go elsewhere to bring in those that can't make it to you? I could do, but it's a lot of hassle. It already costs me thousands of pounds a month to do the podcast. So that's a lie. It is 4 digits, but it's not thousands. But it's expensive to run a podcast. So if I then started trying to do it on the move, it starts to get unreasonable. I also, bear in mind, I'm also part-time. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I've got a PhD. I'm a lecturer. And FPL Raptor is my main YouTube stuff, right? FPL Therapy is a little side project, so... Liverpool team will be out in another 20 minutes. Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought they were staggered by 15. I might not stay until the Liverpool lineup then. I'll work it out. Would you do the Pickles Pick segment that we mentioned on the stream over Christmas/New Year? Yeah, we discussed that. That might be sort of a nice first step for Pickle to just do a little section in the video. So maybe. But I equally like... Some people really enjoy that, but I don't want my channel to become gimmicky. Like where I've got a little thing that my girlfriend does at the end of the video. Like, as much as my channel is fun, I don't want it to get to a stage where it's people are like, what is this? This is not what we're tuning in for. So, potentially. I'm gutted for Harry and Luke with their one. FPL audience is hard to win over to more general content, clearly. It's that, but there's also stuff behind the scenes that it wasn't working very well. There were like issues with the podcast. It's expensive as well. I think upon reflection, they've kind of understood that it was never going to grow at a rate where they were making money in the first year. That's the short of it. Even if it's super successful, like to make money on a podcast, you've got to be flying. So I think they just overestimated how long it would take, and they didn't want to carry on at that rate, I think. Hi, Ross. Not surprised you're knackered if you were doing your pod at 1 a.m. I finished recording my video that went live this morning at like 2:36, I think it was. 2:36 a.m. Finished that video. And then I was up because I had to go to uni today to then do all the testing, you know? How much does podcasting cost? Well, it costs... Depends what studio you've got, right? A few £100 for a studio. Then you have to pay the producer if they're mixing it live. Then if you want to pay an editor, you have to pay an editor. If you want someone to edit short form stuff, you have to pay that. If someone designs your thumbnails, you have to pay them for that. And then travel as well. For me, I edit my podcasts. For my producer, they do very little overall. They just mix the cameras live for me. And so I don't really have massive fees for the producer. I don't have any fees for editing. So for me, it's hiring the studio in London, which is expensive, and then travel. I travel from Nottingham to London every single Monday, and that is the cheapest ticket you can buy is £55 as a return from Nottingham to London. So I'm not going to give you the exact price, but it's at least a few £100 an episode that it costs to run. You're not making that back very easily in terms of money made. I thought you just sit in front of a camera and talk. Guess that's why I'm not a YouTuber. I mean, for YouTube, yeah, I'm sat in my room just talking in front of a camera. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, right? You have to create all of the graphics, do the research. Videos take at least 4 to 5 hours, sometimes 8 hours plus to do a video. But the quickest I've ever done a video from start to finish is about 4 hours. The sponsors must help. Yeah, exactly. That's where sponsors come in. Like, Club have sponsored the podcast all season. That's been massive. Obviously, that really helps. So yeah, sponsors are absolutely massive for podcasts and YouTube as well. Like, I know people get very annoyed at like Fantasy Football Hub promotions throughout pre-season, but you've got to know that as a fantasy football YouTuber, getting backed by one of the big FPL sites, that's a major source of income for us. So try not to get frustrated if your favorite YouTubers are promoting brands, as long as they're not like shady brands, as long as they're brands that you can tell they actually like and they believe in. Yeah. Why go to London? Better quality studio. Surely it's not always easier for guests, though guest London is highly population density. 80 to 90% of the guests that I've had so far all live in London. And the rest that travelled from abroad, like Leon was coming from Singapore, he was in London. Chai was travelling, he was in London. It's only for the guests. It's got nothing to do with better quality studios. It's just purely for the guests. Every single big content creator really lives in London, or if they're traveling, it's easier to get into London. So yeah, it's mainly for that. Yeah, trains are so expensive, aren't they? Trains are so expensive in the UK. For no good reason as well. Do you ever get new news right as you're about to finish and have to redo it? That happens quite a lot on YouTube. If it happens on FPL Therapy, I can't do anything about that. I just have to accept it. But yeah, on YouTube, I've had to re-record entire videos before. Especially if it's a big injury. Like if you'd have recorded a video before Saka got injured, you of course then have to re-record that. It's just part and parcel of it. I've just been told Trent starts, by the way. Doesn't mean anything right now. Apparently Trent starts. I DM'd someone that knows Liverpool stuff, and they just said Trent starts. They were after the deadline, so it's of little help to us now. But Raptor, do you like Guinness, mate? I don't really love much alcohol. I don't mind spiced rum, and if I were to have a beer or lager or ale or anything along those lines, I'd probably go for a Guinness. Yeah, believe it or not. Do you think there's any particular reason why there's no Welsh FPL content creators? Well, it's smaller than England. We had two. Nim was Welsh, or is Welsh, and she used to create content, and also Nathan Bacon. There were two Welsh content creators, but they don't create content now, I don't think. You still need to email Manscaped. Yeah, I did a Manscaped ad like last season or the season before. There was only a one-off though. Is FPL fan not Welsh? No. Don't think so. Have you had cherry crack and spice rum? I've not, no. Is Neve Stump Peg? She's not Welsh, she is... She's from Scunthorpe. Neve, I think. Great content creator, though. I'd love to have Neve on, but I don't think Neve plays FPL, sadly. It's probably worth messaging her at some point, in case she does. But her football knowledge is great. Do you watch a lot of content yourself on YouTube? I watch a fair bit, yeah. Just to stay up to date, to see what other people are doing. Call it market research. Just making sure that you're not falling behind massively with content as well. You know? I always thought FPL fan was Welsh. I don't believe he is, mate. I might be wrong, but I don't believe he is. Are you talking about Callum, right? I don't think he's Welsh. I thought he's from like Bristol or something like that, but maybe I'm completely wrong. Oh, it is Bristol. There we go. Someone just said FPL fan is Bristol. There we go. Oh, Fergie. Yes, of course. Fergie's Welsh. Of Fantasy Football Hub. I knew there was someone that I'd forgot. Anyway. Do all the other lecturers think you're a psychopath because you have a full-time YouTube channel? No, but I just got invited to a guest... Do you know what? This is really exciting. I got invited to do a guest lecture for the sports management module. And I was like, why are they inviting me to do a guest lecture? And they want me to do a guest lecture about making content online and making money from it. So I'm going to do a guest lecture for sports management in a couple of weeks. about how to make money online. That sounds really sus. Not from OnlyFans. Let's not talk about that. Alice talks FPL. Does she play FPL? I've never seen her mention her play FPL. To be fair, I don't really watch her content that much, but that's another good shout for sure. I will have to reach out. As someone from the UK, can you tell a Welshman from their accent? Yeah, absolutely. Unless it's really subtle. But yeah, normally. The Welsh accent's quite easy to identify. Jackson's going to haul, mark my words. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Raptor, do you think my Luis Diaz captain is a good differential? If he scores, yes. If not, then no. Yeah, I'm sure it'll go fine for you. Your accent seems very posh London from a foreigner's perspective. Thank you. / I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a very southern accent. I'm not posh though, and I'm not from London. I come from a working class family. Lived on a council estate when I was younger. Definitely not posh. My accent is much posher than my family's though. My family sound very Essexy. How do you want FPL therapy to grow? Love the mental health aspect. I'm excited to see where you take it. Yeah, I guess I'm just taking it sort of like month by month, season by season. We'll see how it goes. I'm not committing to doing it for the next 30 years. I just want to see what we can do with it. If it starts to become a real financial and logistical burden, then I'll drop it. The point of it was never to be a chore. But at the moment, financially, I'm okay with it. And in terms of time, I don't have enough time anyway. Even if I stopped doing FPL therapy, would not have enough time for everything I wanted to do, so it's fine. So which city did you grow up in? I grew up in Essex. Bet Nessa from Gavin and Stacey plays FPL. Are you watching Traitors? I've never watched Traitors, so I can't answer your next two questions. Sorry. But it's something that I probably should. Everyone seems to rave about it. I don't really have that much time to watch TV. I watch YouTube mainly. Like I'll have the odd chance to sit down and watch a couple of YouTube videos, especially with dinner, but I don't really watch much TV. I'll stay for the Liverpool lineups at 6:45. Where in Essex? Loughton. Have you watched Ted Lasso? No, but I kind of want to. Ted Lasso. I don't know why I said Lasso. Ted Lasso. Lasso. Should I watch Ted Lasso? Loughton. I'm from Loughton in Essex. Essex. I'm from Loughton. I should watch it. Okay, that's next on the list. Early bed tonight and spontaneous match of the day challenge. I won't be able to sleep not knowing if my rank's getting battered, Frosty. You know me. I don't know why these just come off on these chairs, but they do. Enfield clears in my book. I was born in Enfield, Alex. True story. I was born in Enfield. This is not padded. I didn't realise how padded they were. Oh, it's really padded. You'd think I'd know my chair by now. Thoughts on MLS Fantasy slowly growing into a better game? No idea, honestly. I don't watch the MLS, so I definitely wouldn't be able to play the fantasy version. I don't really have time for anything that isn't making FPL content, if you haven't already told. And also then doing my PhD and also lecturing and also going to the gym. Enfield, not in Anfield. Enfield with an E. With an E. Where is Pickle tonight? Hope she's feeling much better now. She is, thanks, Kat. She's at home in Birmingham. Birmingham. She's got hospital placement now for the rest of the year for her studies, so I will see a lot less of Pickle, sadly. There will be no Pickle midweek. There'll only be a little bit of Pickle at the weekend. Very sad. Just noticed you have a league code. If I join now, will I start on 0 points? No. You will join for the next game week, and you'll be on the number of points that you're on. Moved to Brum already. I actually am in June or July. I'm moving to Birmingham. How exciting. Yeah, I'm moving to Birmingham in the summer. Okay, this has got some sticky glue that I've just rubbed my fingers through, which is nice. What's your fitness regime looking like at the moment, Ross? I find it's important for keeping me level when I'm busy. Yeah, I've actually changed so my fitness schedule used to be really heavy on bodybuilding and trying to look aesthetically pleasing. Like, this body is handcrafted. But I also realized that that's not actually important to me. What's important to me is, like, not being in pain with my back, which is really painful. So I want to work on, like, mobility with my back, strengthening my core. I want to work on my ankle and knee mobility. I'm basically an old man. I want to just be a little bit fitter as well. Like, there was a point last year when I was actually quite muscly. I'm happy to say that. But I was really unfit. Like, I'd get tired going up the stairs. So I want to just improve my overall fitness, basically. That's the plan this year, is to just be more functional, more mobile, a little bit fitter. Will moving to Brum affect your ability to do the pod? It's actually easier to get to London from Birmingham than it is Nottingham. It's a little bit cheaper as well. It's quicker and cheaper, so no, it won't affect my podcast. Is the Christmas decoration still up? No, I took that down on like the 5th of Jan or something, 6th of Jan. Ever been to Utrecht in Netherlands? I've probably butchered that, sorry. Seems like everyone talks about Amsterdam when referring to the Netherlands. No, but I did live in the Netherlands in Amsterdam for 5 weeks. Can you call that living? I did live there, but it was let's call it a long stay for a university placement at Vrije University. So I did enjoy Amsterdam, but I think Volendam might be my favorite place in the Netherlands. That was beautiful. What area of Birmingham are you moving to? It would probably be near New Street so that I can get to the station. So it'd probably be city centre. I'd like to live in Harborne, but it's expensive. What is your opinion on protein intake? YouTube experts don't seem to agree. This isn't advice. It's just roughly what I go on. I would say about 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Ish. In terms of how much protein I aim for. So to put it into perspective, I'm 80 kilos. I probably aim for 160 grams of protein, but I'm probably happy with anything about 130, 140 or above. So 3 minutes until the Liverpool hunter, by the way. When are you coming to Fratton Park to watch the Mighty Blues? I'm probably not. I'm going to Villa Park, though, in 2 weeks to watch Villa versus West Ham, which will be fun with FPL Pickle, of course. I need to click my back, sorry. Oof. The site is now live. Let's have a look, shall we? I don't actually have a clue. I think my team's looking slightly better for next week, if anything, actually. Oh, here we go. Chat, would you start Munoz or Robinson next week? Maybe I should bench Enzo again. 4 at the back? Maybe. Something like that the team will be. Bit of a benching headache, I guess. Bench Robinson, Munoz. Wood captain. Not for me. I hope he does well, though. Look at Oscar's latest tweet for EO. Yeah, but Oscar's tweeting top 10k. I don't really care about the top 10k EO because I'm nowhere near the top 10k. But yeah, all three of Salah, Palmer, Isak above 100%. And Burmo at 54%. That's outrageous. Gordon at 44%. God, I've got some major rank threats this week, haven't I? Yeah, so you basically want, if you've not captained them, you want Palmer, Isak, and Salah to all blank. Which is not, it's not a fun position to be in. That is not enjoying FPL, let's just say that. Isak is only just above 100%, so I think with Isak, you're okay if he does smash it. It's not at the end of the world. Right, let's have a look at the Liverpool lineup. Very nice. Where is their team? Wait, is it not 6:45 their team will come out? Hello? Fine, I'll look at Nottingham Forest lineup instead. Chris Wood starts. That's all we care about, really. Murillo, Williams, Milenkovic, Ola Aina. It is a 4 at the back. It's their normal team, basically. Come on, Christopher Wood. I'm sorry. Are they not going to tweet their team? Where's their team? Talk to me, chat. They've just gone, nah, actually. Don't think we're going to share our team. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Literally no surprises there. It's their strongest team, I would say. Soboslai, McAllister, Gravenberch is the midfield three, really nice. It's a really good team. Diaz and Gakpo are the two that start. Salah starts, which is nice to get that confirmation. Trent starts, which is good. Pretty happy with that. Oh, my computer's struggling a lot, isn't it? Bless it. Right. Well, as much as I love you all, I'm going to go pass out now. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much as always. You are all wonderful, and I hope you have a wonderful game week. And there's another deadline on Saturday, so make sure you don't miss that, of course. And there will be more content, obviously, throughout the week as well. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you for the next stream. See you later, guys. Bye.